Chapter 184. Baya walked into the interrogation room. Wang Donner was calm and collected. She smiled and said, "Looks like you've already passed the first test. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here." Baya sat on the chair and said, "I heard that you're studying psychology. What made you change your profession? Hobby. Are you satisfied with this answer?" Wang Donner smiled and said. Baya looked at her and tapped the table rhythmically. "Your sister is much older than you. When she left you, you were only 7. Do you still remember what happened when you were 7? Wang Donner casually flicked the lamp on the table to the floor and made a loud thud. Baya stopped and looked at Wang Donner in surprise. "Are you trying to hypnotize me?" Wang Donner already knew what was going on. "We're kindred spirits. Let's just have a chat. Your family is from a scholarly family." Baya guessed. "My mother is a doctor and my father is a teacher. They were both killed in a burglary case. My sister and I were raised by my grandmother. Our family conditions weren't good, so my sister went out to work," Wang Donner said casually. "The culprits who killed your parents have been caught, right?" Baya said with certainty. "A year after my sister went out to work, the 2 robbers were killed by a car when they were trying to escape," Wang Donner said coldly. "So, you don't believe the police and want to use your ability to avenge your sister?" Baya guessed. Wang Donner laughed. "You're tricking me. It's just a normal analysis. You know what I mean." Wang Donner leaned back in her chair lazily. "Then let me analyze you. You." Wang Donner looked at Baya from head to toe and her gaze landed on Baya's broken finger. Baya subconsciously put his hand under the table. "You have a man you love very much. This man doesn't love you. You're in a lot of pain," Wang Donner guessed. Baya laughed. "You were raped by your uncle." Wang Donner looked at Baya in surprise. Her eyes were filled with disbelief. "How did you know?" "No one knows about this, not even my boyfriend. You cherished your sister's feelings too much. You didn't receive any consolation from other relatives. You originally studied psychology, but because of the trauma, you started to give up on yourself. That was until you found your sister's body and the diary. You started your year-long deployment," Baya guessed. "Yes, I took some videos. If not for the fact that there were no ghosts, would they have been scared to death?" Wang Dong mocked. Her eyes were filled with disdain. "You've seen your sister's days, right? She keeps repeating that she wants Dong-er to be well. She calls those people bad people. If your sister knew what you've done, would she call you that?" Baya asked. "My sister will be proud of me. Even though your sister was abused, she had a kind and gentle heart. She wanted to use her meager strength to save the 2 children. That's why they deserve to die even more. They didn't even spare a kind person like my sister. Do they even have a conscience? They injected a vesicant into her when she was still alive. They wanted my sister to die," Wang Dong said hatefully. "They were wrong. Do you think you did the right thing? Your sister said that she wanted to worship her parents with you. She wanted to be filial to her grandmother with you. She wanted to help other children like you. Xiong Jiqing's child is 7 years old. He's the same age as you. Xiong Jiqing deserved it. He was the one who injected the vesicant into my sister." Wang Don was agitated. "What about a 7-year-old child?" Baya asked. "He doesn't deserve to have a child," Wang Don said coldly. "But he's already a 7-year-old child. Xiong Jiqing paid the price for his actions. What about you? Are you going to continue to struggle in the mud and let your sister down? Or are you going to bear the responsibility? I know you wanted to let Xiong Chang'an go on purpose. That's because Xiong Chang'an treated your sister well. Your sister said in the diary that he was a good person. However, he was under too much pressure and chose to commit suicide. Am I right? Baya asked seriously. Wang Dan's eyes turned red. Xiong Chang'an liked my sister. He was the first one who came to me to repent. I asked him to report me, but he didn't dare to. He was a coward. Even if he committed suicide, my sister wouldn't forgive him. Your sister will forgive him because she's kind. Baya lowered her eyes and paused for 3 seconds. Wang Donner, you've committed the crime of using a terrorist video to kill someone. Everything you've said can be used as evidence in court. I believe the court will make a clear judgment. You tricked me. Wang Donner looked at Baya anxiously. I'm telling the truth. Since you've planned this for a year and even dragged your boyfriend down with you, you don't intend to let them go. They must die. That's because they deserve to die. They're mentally strong. If they're scared to death, it means that they're repentant towards your sister. Why did you? They didn't have any repentance at all. I was the one who drugged them. The powder entered their brains through the smell and glowed after 2 hours. The forensics department couldn't detect it at all, Wang Dan said impulsively. Yes. Ling Chozuan couldn't help but praise her. He crossed his arms and looked at Baya with admiration. I didn't expect her to be not only beautiful but also smart. She's able to use her mind freely. No wonder she's so famous at such a young age. Well done. Gu Lingqing turned off the surveillance. The screen was black. Ling Chozuan frowned and looked at Gu Lingqing. What are you doing? The case has been exposed. Next, it's our job. Are you going? Gu Lingqing said coldly. Of course. Wang Dan said that the man Baya loved didn't love her. I think she was talking about Su Jiran. The man she loved. Ha! Ling Chozuan said these 4 words with deep meaning, full of provocation. You're thinking too much. If they loved each other, they wouldn't have gotten a divorce. He walked out coldly. Ling Chozuan followed behind him unhappily. He imagined the scene of Gu Lingqing being beaten up by him. Just thinking about it made him feel better. Half an hour later, the ambulance arrived. They carried Ling Chozuan onto a stretcher and sent him to the hospital. Baya came out of the interrogation room. Seeing that Gu Lingqing wasn't around, she went back first and booked a train ticket back to City A. She was packing her luggage at the hotel. Knock knock knock. Someone knocked on the door. She looked through the peephole. It was Gu Lingqing. She opened the door and looked at her calmly. Gu Lingqing handed the 99 roses to her. They say that all girls like roses. Thank you. Baya took it and placed it on the table. Chapter 185. Baya widened her eyes and stared at Gu Lingqing. Her mind went blank for a moment, but she quickly calmed down. If you want to date me officially because you're worried that I'll feel wronged, then you don't have to. I'll only feel more wronged if I date you, Baya said bluntly and put the folded clothes into the luggage. What do you mean by more wronged? Gu Lingqing frowned. Do you think I'm not qualified to be your boyfriend? Baya didn't even look at Gu Lingqing. She zipped up the luggage and put it upright. She looked at Gu Lingqing seriously. The premise of dating is that we like each other. Do you think we like each other? Gu Lingqing pursed his lips tightly. His face was pale and he looked at her deeply. His aura changed according to his mood. Baya carried the luggage and walked towards the door. Gu Lingqing held her arm and looked at her. I think we like each other. Baya's heart skipped a beat. She looked at him and sized up his expression. I don't want to date. If I want to, we'll just get married. You can't get a divorce in a military marriage. Do you dare? Gu Lingqing paused. Baiya smiled. Her eyes were full of sarcasm. She turned around and faced Gu Lingqing. I don't have time to waste my youth. It's too dangerous to be in a relationship with the general. I don't have the confidence to walk to the end. Either we get married and I'll be with you for the rest of my life. You don't have to answer me immediately. I'll give you a month to think about it carefully before you decide. There's no medicine for regret in this world. She pushed his hand away, opened the door and walked out. Her eyes were dark and misty, reflecting the sunlight. Baiya was mentally and physically exhausted. She couldn't afford to play any games of love. She couldn't bear any tragic ending. If she dated Gu Lingqing and was found out by Song Shiyu and Gu Tianheng, she would definitely die. Or, she could cut ties with Gu Lingqing and start a new life. Otherwise, she could directly become Gu Lingqing's wife. What was done could not be undone. With her identity as the wife of the chief, Song Shiyu and Gu Tianheng would not be able to hurt her. The deepest part of her heart hid the most hysterical love for Gu Lingqing. She chose to compromise and give herself one last chance. Regardless of whether he was responsible for her or had other motives, as long as he agreed to marry her, she would spend the rest of her life as a confession of love. However, she felt so wronged, so sullen, and so afraid. She was afraid that she wouldn't have the courage to continue living after being mercilessly hurt. She was also afraid that accompanying her would become a mutual injury. The memory of the past was like a knife cutting her heart. Gu Lingqing's "Hai Lan, I miss you so much" was more painful than killing her. If it was the same after marriage, the person she loved someone else. She could persist in this kind of marriage. She was so conflicted. She couldn't figure it out, so she got stuck in a dead end and her thoughts started to get confused. Baiya's remaining rationality found something wrong. She quickly took out a white plastic bottle from her bag, looked at the label, and poured out a small black pill with trembling hands. She threw it into her mouth and dragged her suitcase into the corridor. She leaned against the wall, clenched her fists, and slowly calmed herself down. A minute later, she opened her eyes, and the confusion in her eyes gradually became clear. There was a limit to human feelings. After being hurt, the heart would hurt, and the body would produce a lot of toxic substances, eroding the nerves and cells. The pain caused by this kind of feeling would not heal like a knife wound. In fact, it was very difficult to heal. When the pain reached a certain level, people would protect themselves and become mentally deranged. The most common was schizophrenia. Most patients indulged in hallucinations and delusions, which manifested in smashing things, hurting people, destroying things, indifference to feelings, and detachment from real life. Her mother was like this. She had been schizophrenic for a long time. Depression, obsessive-compulsive disorder, anxiety disorder, insomnia, anorexia, phobia, autism, personality disorder, and dementia all happened together. She didn't want to be like her mother and become schizophrenic. If that was the case, she would rather die. After adjusting her emotions, Baiya came out of the corridor. Although doctors couldn't cure themselves, she knew a way to think about happy things, divert attention, find new joy in life, and so on. Baiya came out of the elevator and saw Gu Lingqing sitting on the sofa in the lounge area. She went to check out. Gu Lingqing took her luggage. Baiya looked at him, and he put her luggage in his car. Baiya checked out and walked over. Gu Lingqing opened the door of the front passenger seat. "I'll send you to the train station." "Okay." Baiya nodded and sat in the front passenger seat calmly. Gu Lingqing drove, looked ahead and said, "I found the murderer, but this matter can't be made public. I have to stay to deal with the aftermath. The dead are gone, and the living have to live. I have to do a good job of making up for it secretly. As long as you have a clear conscience." Baiya sighed and said, "I didn't believe in fate in the past. I thought that the future was in my own hands. As long as I worked hard, as long as I persevered, as long as I moved towards my goal, I would always get what I deserved. In fact, sometimes there will be something in life. Didn't you say that you have a clear conscience? If you don't work hard, how can you have a clear conscience? Gu Lingqing said meaningfully, glancing at Bai Ye's fair and delicate face. She wasn't impetuous. She was very beautiful, but she was also dignified and elegant. She was the kind of person who looked more and more beautiful at first glance. I saw on news yesterday. It was about a 19-year-old girl who fell into the river because she broke up with her boyfriend. A boy jumped in and saved her. She was rescued, but the boy was washed away by the water and died because he was too weak. Isn't this fate? Bai Ye said with some sadness. Gu Lingqing held her hand and put it on his lap. His palm was very warm, but hers was very cold. When I was helpless in life, I met Su Jiran. He helped me find a job and brought my mother out of the mental hospital. After getting my mother out of the mental hospital, I thought my life would get better. Only now did I know that Su Jiran and I knew each other because of a planned conspiracy. You saved me from the fire pit. I thought that I found happiness. For this happiness, I was willing to give up everything. Fate played a joke on me again. You lost your memory. Bai Ye looked at Gu Lingqing, and tears rolled down her cheeks. Gu Lingqing held Bai Ye's hand tightly and frowned. I'll marry you. After I'm done with my work, we'll get married when we go back. Bai Ye smiled, and the corners of her lips curled up. She looked at him gently and smoothed his brows with her thumb. You're always like this. Responsibility is everything to you. Because you feel that you owe me for losing your memory, you want to make it up to me. Gu Lingqing, I don't need it. Go and live the life you want. Don't be burdened by responsibility and memories. I can actually live a better life alone. Chapter 186. Gu Lingqing, let's let each other go, Bai Ye said softly. Gu Lingqing pulled over and stopped the car. He was a little annoyed. You're the one who said we're going to get married, but you're the one who wants to let each other go. What do you want? Can I do whatever I want? Bai Ye asked. Gu Lingqing was also impatient. He said firmly, yes, what do you want? Let's do it. Let's let each other go. Okay, he said straightforwardly. He looked ahead and started the car. Bai Ye knew that what he said was true. However, she didn't regret it, because she saw him frown. He said that he would marry her, but he didn't mean it. So be it. Gu Lingqing sent her to the train station and watched her walk in. His eyes were as dark as ink. He took out a cigarette from the storage box, lit it, took a deep breath, and exhaled thick smoke. The smoke enchanted his strong facial features. Half an hour later, he made a call to Lieutenant Colonel Song. Go to the Psychology Institute and issue an official document. I need a psychologist to test the psychological quality of the soldiers, to the extent of the darkness of the soldiers' psychology, and specify that I want Bai Ye. Okay, I'll go to the relevant departments to communicate the agreement now. Gu Lingqing hung up the phone, threw the phone into the passenger seat, and drove away from the train station. After Bai Ye returned to City A, she wanted to have a good sleep in the hotel, but Lu Shuang called. Bai Ye, when will you come back? I miss you so much. Bai Ye smiled. I think we really have a telepathic connection. I just returned to City A and stayed in the hotel. That's great. Let's have dinner together tonight. Let me tell you, the man on the blind date last time was also unreliable. He dumped me again. Tell me, am I so bad? No one wants to date me. Lu Shuang was a little depressed. I'll treat you tonight. Let's go to the U mansion that we used to go to. The Yu Manor has been closed for 2 years. Oh, really? For some reason, Baya felt a little sad when she heard this. She remembered that the fish mansion's business was very good. The boss was very enthusiastic, and the food was delicious. That's right. In the past 2 years, takeout has become the norm. Many people order at home. His apartment is so big, and the rent is too high. He can't do it anymore. I know a good restaurant in a scenic area. There's even a 4A women's club there. I wanted to go, but I didn't want to be alone. You can accompany me. It's my treat. Lu Shuang explained. A women's club. Baya thought of Su Shaoling. The men there are not clean. Don't touch them. Am I stupid? Spending money to find a man. It's not like I have too much money to spend. I'm just going there to broaden my horizons. Going to a spa or something isn't a problem. Okay, I live in a Sheraton near a university. Call me when you arrive. Half an hour later, Lu Shuang arrived. Baiyo was quite surprised. It takes an hour to get here from the military. You're too fast. Hee, Tiger is not at home. There's not much work. I'm on leave tomorrow, so I came out earlier today. When I called you, you were already driving. Let's go. I'll take you to eat fish. Lu Shuang said with a smile. Baiya got into Lu Shuang's car and fastened her seatbelt. What's the Mu Shaoxing you mentioned? Lu Shuang asked. He's very charming. He's like a wild crane and has many women who like him. He's a vagabond who had a short marriage. He's probably a good bachelor who won't settle down until he's 40. What's wrong? Don't tell me you're interested in him. Baiyo was worried. She looked at Lu Shuang. I'm in a hurry. If it was 4 years ago, I would be young and invincible. But now, I'm almost 30. I'm not in a hurry, but my parents are. Every time I go home, I have to listen to their nagging. I'm so tired of eating. Lu Shuang sighed. You're only 27 this year. There's still 3 years before you're 30. Don't be in a hurry. Baiya suggested. I wasn't in a hurry before. I wanted to find someone, date for 2 years, get married, and settle down. But, according to the number of times I've been dumped, I think I'll still be single when I'm 30. What kind of women do men like nowadays? I'm speechless. Lu Shuang was annoyed. I think they would like someone like you. You're bright and cheerful. You're generous, filial, kind, and have a good figure. Plus, you're beautiful. You shouldn't be single. Baiyo was also curious. Right? I'm also financially independent. I don't need men's money. I can pay for the house with them. Those men are blind. Lu Shuang shrugged. I'll go on a blind date show. I'll cast my net and catch the fish. There will be. Oh, I think I saw Shaniyan last time. He was at the place where you attended the blind date show. Baiya couldn't remember clearly. What was he doing here? Did he have nothing better to do than flirt with the girls in the military? Lu Shuang was unhappy when he mentioned him. Did you guys keep in touch after last time? Baiya asked casually. What's there to keep in touch with? My first time was ruined by him. He was reckless and almost killed me. If I didn't know he was also drugged, I wouldn't have let him go. If I were still a virgin, I might be worth more money. Don't talk about him. It's annoying. Lu Shuang sped up. Half an hour later, they arrived at the hotel in the scenic area. When they arrived, it was already past dinner time. The hotel didn't have supper, so it was closed. Let's go. There's food in the women's club. Lu Shuang pulled Baiye over. Only members could enter the women's club. While Lu Shuang was working, Baiye went to the washroom. Have you heard? That Tony is already dead. His body was split into 8 pieces. The murderer is very vicious. He even cut off his penis and stuffed it into his mouth. Then, he threw it into the public toilet, a woman said. That's horrible. What a pity. Tony is good-looking and has a good figure. I heard that his skills are excellent too. Only Diamond members can use them, another woman said. Do you know Mu Xiaoxing? Baiye was about to leave, but when she heard Mu Xiaoxing's name, she looked at the woman who spoke. He said that Tony's woman might be the murderer. Before the murderer could be brought to the police station, he was taken away by someone. I was there when he was taken away. Baiye frowned. The Mu Xiaoxing you're talking about, is he the psychologist Mu Xiaoxing? Yes. A Diamond member must be someone important. Moreover, the information of Diamond members is hidden. I think he's in trouble this time. Baiye quickly called Gu Lingqing. She knew those people's methods too well. Mu Xiaoxing had offended someone. Gu Lingqing answered the phone and said in a strange tone, "You're not going to let yourself go so soon." Chapter 187. She had an impulse to hang up the phone. She was silent for a while. Among the people she knew, the most powerful one was Gu Lingqing. Only Gu Lingqing could help her. Mu Xiaoxing was kind to her and helped her when she was in a desperate situation. With this kindness, she should try her best to save him. I need your help with something, Baiye said in a low voice. She was a little embarrassed. Well, tell me. What's the matter? Gu Lingqing sounded nice. I heard that Mu Xiaoxing was taken away by someone. Mu Xiaoxing is the director of the Psychological Research Institute. Can you let him out? You don't know who took him away. Gu Lingqing asked back. In a women's club, a man named Tony was killed. Then, Mu Xiaoxing said that it might have been done by the person who called for Tony last. He was taken away. Tony's level is very high. Only Diamond members can call for him. I suspect that it was the Diamond member who took Mu Xiaoxing away. I'm worried that they will harm Mu Xiaoxing. Baiye briefly explained the situation. I see. Where are you now? Baiye didn't want to say where she was. What's wrong? I asked the director of City A to come and cooperate with you. Go to the women's club and find out the information of the Diamond member. I've intervened. They won't dare to not let him go, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Oh, I'm with Qing Fengshui. Baiye's voice became lower. Gu Lingqing paused and asked in a very bad tone, You went to the women's club. Baiye, when I want you, you say no, but when I find a stranger, you want me. Is it that I can't satisfy you? Or have you learned to be cheap? Do you know they are not clean? Gu Lingqing was so angry that his words became more and more unpleasant. Baiye was very thin-skinned. It's not what you think. I came here to accompany Lu Shuang. I didn't say I wanted to do that. I just came here to sing. There are so many places to sing. Do you want to go to those places to sing? Gu Lingqing said sharply. I told you I'm here to accompany Lu Shuang. Baiye frowned. Your feet are on your body. If you don't want to go, who can force you? You are so eloquent. Lu Shuang actually doesn't have a mind of his own. If you don't want to go, he won't go. Gu Lingqing said affirmatively. Baiye couldn't win against him, so he hung up the phone angrily. As soon as she hung up, she regretted it. She asked Gu Lingqing for help. She and Gu Lingqing were nothing. Why was she feeling guilty? However, she hung up the phone so suddenly. She was really worried that Gu Lingqing wouldn't help her. It was better to do it this way. She still called Gu Lingqing shamelessly. He was currently on a call. Her heart was in a mess. She sighed and waited for a minute. Then she called Gu Lingqing. I've arranged the people. They'll be there in an hour. Find a place and wait. Gu Lingqing said coolly. Baiya felt a warm feeling flowing in her heart. Although he was cold and hard to get along with, he was very capable. He arranged everything in a short while. Thank you. Baiya's tone softened. Don't just say it. I want the specifics. Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. He was still suppressing his anger. When you come back, I'll treat you to a meal. Baiya said quickly. Okay, that's all. I still have something to deal with here. Thank you. Baiya said politely. The word you was respectful and distant. It denied the intimate relationship between them. It made his temper rise. Baiya, you really don't learn your lesson. Baiya, before she knew what was going on, he hung up the phone. Baiya, I've been looking for you for a long time. Who were you talking to? The line was busy. Lu Shuang complained as he walked over. He waved the card in his hand. I've already done it. I went inside just now. There's actually a self-service bar. Baiya hesitated. Gu Lingqing's warning was still ringing in her ears. If he knew that she went inside, he would probably go crazy again. What are you doing? I booked a private room to sing. We can eat while singing. Come on, baby. Lu Shuang put his arm around Baiya's shoulder. You didn't call their cattle, did you? Baiya was on guard. The cheapest is 3,000 yuan. It's a little expensive. I can't bear to pay for it. I'll accompany you today. You accompany me. Lu Shuang put his arm around her and went in. Baiya made up her mind and followed Lu Shuang in. Anyway, she was magnanimous. It was fine as long as she didn't do what Gu Lingqing said. They went inside. In the form of a buffet, there was a variety of dishes, and everything was available. Lu Shuang's eyes were sparkling. Then, she wouldn't stand on ceremony. Her stomach was already growling with hunger. They went into the private room to sing. Half an hour later, someone knocked on the door. Lu Shuang guessed that it was to promote the cattle. She opened the door. Indeed, outside the door, there were two men with gorgeous masks following behind the mommy. Beautiful lady, today is the lucky day of our restaurant. These two young men are a gift. I hope they can accompany you to have fun. The mommy said with a smile. A gift. Lu Shuang didn't want to take them at first, but since they were a gift, she didn't want them. Come in. Baiya, didn't they say that they wouldn't find cattle? Cool girl, don't take them. They might have some illness. Baiya didn't say the word. It was too hurtful to her self-esteem. Don't worry, sister. We have a health certificate. We are all natural and safe, the man with the fox mask said. His voice sounded like he was quite young. We can sing and drink. Xiao Bai, what do you want? Lu Shuang teased. Go and accompany her. I don't need it. Baiya rejected. The man with the fox mask sat on the right of Lu Shuang, while the man with the dragon vine mask sat on the left of Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang looked at the man with the dragon vine mask. Do you know how to sing? The man shook his head. No wonder it's a free gift. It's a defective product. Wearing a mask. Do I look ugly? Lu Shuang asked casually. The man with the dragon vine, sister, we aren't ugly. It's just that because it's a gift, we can't show you how we look. We can accompany you to drink and sing. The one beside you doesn't like to talk and doesn't like to sing, the man explained. Lu Shuang looked at the man with curiosity. You don't even know how to sing. Your business must be bad. The man with the dragon vine, he lowered his head and whispered something in Lu Shuang's ear. Lu Shuang blushed and looked at him in surprise. The man with the corner of his mouth curled up. He looked quite charming and sexy as he poured red wine for Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang took it uncomfortably. He didn't dare to drink it and pulled Bai Ya out. Your Highness. The man with the fox mask shouted worriedly. Shen Yan raised her hand and signaled him not to say anything. Chapter 188. There's no free lunch in the world. Maybe it's their marketing strategy. They say it's a free gift, and when you can't stop, they'll start to charge you a service fee, Bai Ya guessed. I think so too. Why don't we drive them away? Lu Shuang and Bai Ya discussed. Bai Ya nodded. That's the best. Let's go back. Lu Shuang pushed the door open. You guys can leave. We don't need you anymore. Did we do something wrong? The man in the fox mask struggled. I think you talk too much, Lu Shuang said bluntly. Shen Yan, who was wearing the soaring dragon mask, was straightforward. She stood up, tidied her clothes, nodded elegantly, and walked out of the door. Seeing Shen Yan leave, the man in the fox mask followed her immediately. Lu Shuang was relieved when he saw how straightforward they were. He picked up the wine glass and took a sip. The wine was good. Bai Ya's phone rang. She saw it was Gu Lingqing's call, so she picked it up immediately. Gu Lingqing heard the singing coming from the phone. You went in. Bai Ya was annoyed. She was too anxious and forgot to turn off the sound. It's really just singing. Go to the door now. If you come in again, I promise I'll make one of you lose a leg, Gu Lingqing said angrily. Got it. You know those people outside are my people. Don't try your luck, Gu Lingqing reminded her again. Okay. Bai Ya hung up. What's wrong? Lu Shuang asked, puzzled. I have something to do. I'm going out for a while. I won't be coming in. Why don't you come with me? Bai Ya was worried about Lu Shuang. I ordered a 3-hour ticket. If you order for 3 hours, you can get a free ticket for the whole night. I don't have to work tomorrow. I want to sing to my heart's content. Lu Shuang didn't want to leave. It's too dangerous for you to be here alone. What's so dangerous about it? I can't ask for more. Hee, I'm fine. You go ahead with your work. If you still want to sing, come to this room to find me. Lu Shuang pushed Bai Ya out. Bai Ya was very sorry. She had originally come to accompany Lu Shuang. She had not expected that something would happen to Mu Shaoxing. Call me if you need anything. I'll sing with you another day, Bai Ya promised. Okay. You can leave now. No one will fight for the microphone with me. I can enjoy it all by myself. Ha ha ha. Lu Shuang said straightforwardly. Her phone rang. It was a call from an unknown number. It was probably from the bureau chief. She picked it up. Well, Ms. Bai Ya, I'm Zhang Donglai from the Public Security Department. Someone told us that if you didn't come out in 5 minutes, we would have to come in and look for you, Zhang Donglai said apologetically. I'm already on my way out, Bai Ya explained. She guessed that the someone was referring to Gu Lingqing. She had already broken up with Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing was controlling her too much. She was not his girlfriend. She did not have the strength to complain. She felt that if this continued, she would not be able to escape from the cage he had created. She left the room in a hurry. She did not notice that someone was staring at her. "Your Highness, the girl has come out. We don't have to send her away, right?" the man in the fox mask asked. Shen Yin curled her lips. "It seems like it's God's arrangement. When Lu Shuang finishes drinking, you can take her away." "Yes." Baya arrived at the door. 2 police cars were there. One of them was a well-built middle-aged man. He was wearing a police uniform and looked very formidable. He took the initiative to extend his hand to Baya and greeted her politely. "Hello, Zhang Donglai. What do you need me to do now?" "Hello, Baya." Baya greeted him and went straight to the point. "Go and find out who were the customers who ordered Tony yesterday. I want the specific information of the customers." "Okay, someone asked you to wait in the car. I think it will take 10 minutes. I will give it to you in 10 minutes, Zhang Donglai said. Baya, Zhang Donglai brought them to the club. A police officer opened the car door and gestured for Baya to get in. She had a strange feeling in her heart. She sat in the back seat and looked out of the window anxiously. Her phone rang. It was a message from Lu Shuang. She opened it. "Xiao Bai, I like a male bull. I'm going to play with him first. Don't look for him." Baiyo was worried. She called Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang did not pick up the call. "Are you crazy? Which room are you in? Shuangniu, don't do something you will regret." Baiya sent the message anxiously. "Don't worry. I know what I'm doing. I'm already an adult. I'm going to take a shower. My phone is off. Mwah. Don't disturb me. You should support me if you are my sister." Baiya could tell that it was Lu Shuang's tone. Although she did not agree with it, Lu Shuang was right. She was already an adult. She knew what she was talking about. If she were to forcefully bring Lu Shuang away, Lu Shuang would not be happy. She did not call him again. She was just worried. After Shinian sent the message, she switched off Lu Shuang's phone and placed it on the bedside table. She looked coldly at Lu Shuang, who was unconscious on the bed. She actually came to look for a male bull. He had really given her freedom. He tore off his tie and threw it on the sofa. Then, he unbuttoned his clothes. Lu Shuang frowned slightly. He felt so hot. It was so hot that it felt like there were many worms crawling on him. Uncomfortable. Shiniyan's body covered Lu Shuang's and she pinched his chin. "You deserve it. You don't have any self-awareness at all as my woman." Lu Shuang slapped his hand away and opened her eyes. Her vision was very blurry and she could not see clearly. She fainted after drinking a glass of wine. She was dizzy. "I'm thirsty. Water," Lu Shuang said with a whimper. "Coming." Shen Yan kissed her lips. Lu Shuang sucked hard. It was not enough to quench her thirst, but it was better than before. Shen Yan's tongue was hurt by her sucking. She left. Lu Shuang was not satisfied. She hooked her arms around the back of his neck. Shen Yan raised the corner of her mouth and took the initiative to touch her lips. She was like a baby. However, this could not calm down the boiling blood in her body. "I feel uncomfortable." Lu Shuang looked at Shen Yan pitifully. "Can you wait for another 6 months?" Shen Yan said meaningfully. In 6 months, he could reach the top of the world. He could also control his own marriage. "No, I feel uncomfortable now." Lu Shuang pushed him away. She wanted to go to the bathroom to take a cold shower to cool down. He pulled her. She was limp and had no strength at all. She sat on the bed. Shen Yiyan looked at her. Stop looking for a boyfriend. I'll marry you in the future. Lu Shuang saw his mouth moving. She seemed to have heard something, but she could not understand what it meant. The discomfort was getting worse. I want to go to the hospital. I'm going to die. Lu Shuang stood up. He carried her on his body and said wickedly, "Can I help you treat it?" She was in a daze for a few seconds. He placed her on the bed and his palm slid down the waist of her dress. Chapter 189. Lu Shuang didn't know what she wanted. The discomfort gradually subsided. After she was satisfied, she fell asleep. Shen Yiyan looked at her blushing face with infatuation and moved her bangs aside. He had fallen in love with her 3 years ago. Since he had never given up, he wasn't going to give up. He would cut off as many peach blossoms as she had. She would either die alone, or she would only have him. Baya got the information of the diamond member who called Tony last that day. When she saw the information, she admitted that she was a little absent-minded. Su Shaoling. The last one to call Tony was actually Su Shaoling. Then, Mu Shaoxing should have been taken away by Su Zheng. The situation was more serious than she thought. If it was just an ordinary senior official, Gu Lingqing would just need to say a word. Su Zheng's rank was above Gu Lingqing's, and he was a popular candidate for the presidential election. It was not easy. Baya didn't dare to act rashly. She called Gu Lingqing. She heard a sound. Gu Lingqing picked up. Well, Gu Lingqing, I suspect that the person who took Mu Shaoxing away is Su Xiaoling's father, Su Zheng. What should we do next? Baya asked carefully. You said Tony, Cool Breeze, the women's club. I already guessed it was him. Don't worry, I have already dealt with it. Now Mu Shaoxing has been released. Don't interfere with what happens next. Mu Shaoxing will take full responsibility, Gu Lingqing said straightforwardly. Baya, you already know. Why did you ask Director Zhang to investigate with me? She didn't understand. I'm just guessing. It's always right to have a two-way guarantee. I'll ask someone to send you back now. Have a good sleep tonight. See you tomorrow. Gu Lingqing finished and hung up the phone without giving her a chance to speak. See you tomorrow. Would he be back tomorrow? They had agreed to let each other go. Now that she owed him a meal, she couldn't refuse. He said it casually, but the process of letting Mu Shaoxing out was full of danger. She should have. Baya went back. In order to have a good spirit tomorrow, she took the medicine and went to bed. In the morning, she woke up naturally. When she opened her eyes, she saw Gu Lingqing sleeping beside her, facing her. His hand naturally rested on her waist. Baya was very surprised. Why are you here? Gu Lingqing didn't open his eyes. His Adam's apple bobbed. Sleep with me for a while more. She saw that he was really tired. When she talked to him yesterday, it was almost 9 o'clock. If he got on the train at 9 o'clock, it would be 4 o'clock when he arrived at City A. She did not speak or move. Initially, she didn't think that she would fall asleep. After all, she hadn't been sleeping well all this while and had to rely on medicine to maintain her sleep. However, unknowingly, she fell asleep again. I don't know how long. As soon as Gu Lingqing moved, Baya woke up and opened his eyes. What time is it now? Gu Lingqing glanced at his phone. 12 o'clock. Baya, she collapsed and sat up. Let's go. I'll treat you to dinner. Gu Lingqing pressed her shoulders down on the bed. Before dinner, do something else first. Baya covered her mouth when she saw him kissing her on the lips. Gu Lingqing furrowed his brows. Baya, don't make me angry. I haven't brushed my teeth yet, Baya said gloomily. Gu Lingqing's gaze paused for a moment. He let go of her and walked into the washroom to brush his teeth and wash up. Baya also walked over. Just as she squeezed out the toothpaste, she saw Gu Lingqing walk into the glass enclosure and take a shower in front of her. Baya accidentally saw that he was already in a state where he was ready. She blushed and turned away. She brushed her teeth seriously, applied facial cleanser and washed her face. He was already standing behind her. He was only wrapped in a towel. He looked at her with a burning gaze. Do you want to take a shower? Baya looked into his deep eyes. She saw the desire in his eyes and felt a little flustered. Why did it go back to the past? She shook her head. I've already taken a shower last night. I have to report to the Psychology Research Institute later. I've already skipped work in the morning. Gu Lingqing looked at her quietly. His eyes were tinged with anger. Aren't you a non-staff member? Mu Shaoxing said that you don't have to go to work. You're free to move around. Baya, how did he know everything? She felt like she had shot herself in the foot. You're not willing. Gu Lingqing read her mind. Baya lowered her head. Her eyes flickered. I'm hungry. I didn't eat lunch yesterday. I didn't eat much for dinner. I didn't eat anything for breakfast today. My stomach is hurting from hunger. Yeah, I was careless. I'll go eat first. Help me wash my clothes. Is that okay? Gu Lingqing asked. Baya took a look. Specifically, he was talking about the underwear. The outerwear should be dry cleaned. For some strange reason, she nodded. Gu Lingqing smiled. He was satisfied with her answer and walked out of the washroom. Baya vented her anger. Only then did she realize that he had brought his luggage with him. Don't you need to go to the military? Baya asked in surprise. I'll go back in a while. There are still many things to do in the military, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baya quietly heaved a sigh of relief. He saw her reaction. He didn't say anything, but his gaze turned a little colder. He changed his clothes in front of her like an old married couple. Baya was a little embarrassed. She took her clothes and went to the washroom to change before coming out. They went to the nearby Water Moon International to find a restaurant to eat. She still remembered that 3 years ago, they also came here to eat together. At that time, how good would it have been if they hadn't continued? Do you want ice cream? Gu Lingqing asked Baya. Baya smiled when she saw the ice cream shop. It was still the same ice cream shop. The owner didn't change. Did you ask me for ice cream on our first date? I said no. You bought 3 and asked me to carry them for you. In the end, I ate the ice cream and you gave it to other kids. That sounds like something I would do. Gu Lingqing didn't deny it. You're two-faced. Baya commented. If that's the case, I should have liked you at that time, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baya paused for a moment. She looked at Gu Lingqing and met his gaze. Gu Lingqing sized her up. You don't believe that I like you. Baya didn't want to keep guessing with him. She wanted to be decisive and not waste each other's time. Gu Lingqing, the person you like should be Zhou Hailan. Gu Lingqing was very calm. There was no change of expression on his face. She couldn't understand him, and he couldn't understand her. Baya, have you ever loved Su Jiran? Gu Lingqing asked. Our situation is different. The result is the same, isn't it? Gu Lingqing asked. Chapter 190. She's dead, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice, with no other expression on his indifferent face. Baiya's eyes turned red. She had seen a lot of people with marriage problems. They got married because they loved each other, but in the trifles of life, their advantages became disadvantages. Because they cared too much about each other, they restricted each other's freedom. They quarreled with each other, hurt each other, and the accumulated conflicts consumed the stored feelings. In the end, they broke up and separated. The good ones parted on good terms. The normal ones were like strangers. There were also some who were like enemies. Because they used to love each other, they didn't want to remember. Even if it was a beautiful past, it would be regarded as a past mistake. Therefore, the living will never be able to fight against the dead who are not together. Zhou Hailan left the best impression on him. She was sunny, positive, beautiful, and cheerful. Zhou Hailan died because of him. In his heart, she was a cinnabar mole that could never be erased. And she had a lot of shortcomings. The more they got to know each other, the more he felt that Zhou Hailan was good. She didn't want to see them hate each other in the future. More importantly, she couldn't stand the fact that the man she loved had another woman in his heart. She would rather not love such a man. Let's eat. Baiya skipped the topic and walked into a French restaurant. Baiya's phone rang. She saw that it was Lu Shuang's call and picked it up. Little Bai, something happened to me, Lu Shuang said in a sobbing voice. Baiya's heart tightened and she asked worriedly, "What's wrong?" Yesterday, Lu Shuang found it hard to speak. "Where are you now?" "I'm in your hotel now. Let's talk when we meet." "Okay, I'll come back now," Baiya said anxiously. She hung up and looked at Gu Lingqing. "Something happened to Shuang Niu. I have to go back immediately. I'll treat you another day." Baiya didn't wait for Gu Lingqing's reply. She grabbed her bag and ran out of the restaurant. Gu Lingqing watched Baiya leave. His eyes darkened. He took out his phone and deleted all the photos of Zhou Hailan. Baiya saw Lu Shuang in the lobby of the hotel. Lu Shuang's eyes were red, and she was still wearing the dress from yesterday. She was not in a good state of mind. "Cool girl, what's wrong?" Baiya asked worriedly. "Xiao Bai, do you know what happened to me yesterday?" "Who took me away?" Lu Shuang asked worriedly. "You said you took a fancy to a male bull. He told me not to look for you." Baiya looked at Lu Shuang worriedly. "What happened?" "I didn't fall in love with Lang Niu. I fell asleep unknowingly last night. When I woke up, I was lying in the hotel room. I was raped by someone. More importantly, that person took some bad pictures," Lu Shuang said with a pale face. "Does the man look like in the video?" "No, the hotel also used my ID card to register. I wanted to check the CCTV, but the hotel staff said that their CCTV was broken yesterday." Lu Shuang was very upset. Although she looked very carefree and open-minded, she was still a little shy. In fact, she was very traditional. Otherwise, she wouldn't be alone until now. "Let's go to the hospital for a checkup to make sure you are not sick. Then, we can consider whether to call the police or not," Baiya said rationally. "Let's go to a small hospital. I'm afraid of being recognized in a big hospital. Also, if we call the police, I feel very embarrassed. This kind of thing is easy to report." Lu Shuang was upset. Baiya also felt very guilty. If only she didn't leave Lu Shuang alone. Did that man leave the condom? Lu Shuang found it hard to say it. His face turned red. "He used 7 condoms, and I took one. Aren't you working for the police now? See if you can get a fingerprint." "Can't fingerprints be compared now? This needs to go through the procedures. I'm afraid I don't have that much power, but..." Baiya paused. Power was a good thing. In front of power, procedures could be ignored. Gu Lingqing should be able to help. I'll try. Bai Yi said uncertainly. Then I'll leave it to you. Lu Shuang took out a sealed bag from his bag. When Bai Yi took the sealed bag, she was also quite embarrassed. She accompanied Lu Shuang to the private hospital for a checkup. Lu Shuang couldn't accompany her in the room. Bai Yi walked to the window at the end of the corridor, took out her phone, and looked at Gu Lingqing's phone number. She just asked Gu Lingqing to help deal with Mu Xiaoxing's matter yesterday. Now she needed his help again. It was quite embarrassing. She cheekily dialed the number. The phone was turned off. She guessed that he might be busy, so she sent a message to Gu Lingqing. I have something to talk to you about. Can you call me back when you are free? She put the phone in her bag and waited for Lu Shuang at the door for half an hour. Lu Shuang took the test report. There's no problem, right? Bai Yi asked worriedly. Lu Shuang shook his head. No, he used a condom. But the more I think about it, the angrier I get. Is that person a pervert? He's doing bad things on video. He's crazy. If he wasn't crazy, he wouldn't have done such a thing. Bai Yi agreed. She put her arm around Lu Shuang's shoulder. Have you eaten? Lu Shuang shook his head. Let's go eat. When we find that person, I'll sue him and go to jail for the rest of my life. Let's talk about it when we catch him. It was already 16:00 in the afternoon when they finished eating. Bai Yi wanted to go to the research institute, and Lu Shuang followed her. When they came out of the elevator, they bumped into Su Shaoling. Su Shaoling was very surprised to see Bai Yi. Her face turned white, red, and green. Why are you here? My Xiao Bai is now a special psychiatrist here. Is there a problem? Lu Shuang said proudly. Special psychiatrist. You changed your profession. Su Xiaoling's face looked even worse. Bai Yi smiled. She did not want to say much. Su Xiaoling's family background was too powerful. She did not want to provoke them. She pulled Lu Shuang away. Su Xiaoling looked at Bai Yi's back. Can we talk in private? Why do you want to talk in private? My Xiao Bai's time is very precious. It's 10,000 an hour. Do you want to see a doctor? I'll give you an hour to see a doctor. Lu Shuang stood in front of Bai Yi and said. Okay, I'll give you 10,000 an hour. See a doctor. Su Shaoling emphasized the last two words. Bai Yi frowned slightly. Follow me. Xiao Bai, ignore her, Lu Shuang said worriedly. Even if I ignore her, it doesn't mean she won't pester me. It's better to leave. Wait for me in the reception room. There's a computer in the reception room. Bai Yi said to Lu Shuang. Okay. Anyway, we're sisters. No matter what decision you make, I'll support you. Lu Shuang raised his fist to cheer. Bai Yi entered the office and sat down. Su Shaoling threw her phone in front of Bai Yi. Chapter 191. Bai Yi could tell from her provocative and hateful eyes that she would definitely be sad if she saw the things in the album. Since she didn't feel good after seeing it, why did she want to see it? Knowing how to refuse was an important lesson in life. Bai Yi put her phone aside and said with a smile, Aren't you here to see a doctor? Tell me your symptoms. My man doesn't love me. Su Shaoling raised the corner of her mouth and looked straight at Bai Yi. He loves a dead woman. Bai Yi understood and understood, so when she said it, she didn't feel too shocked and stunned. And then? Bai Yi asked calmly. He has a secret room. I sneaked in. Inside, there are photos and belongings of that dead woman. That woman has been dead for many years. I've waited for him for so many years, but I can't even get a look from him. I can't accept it. Su Shaoling said excitedly and stared at Bai Ye. You lost him, but you lost a man who doesn't love you. He lost you, but he lost a woman who loves him. You've wasted the past 10 years of youth, and there's no point in wasting it anymore. Without him, every day is a sunny day for you. You can meet many outstanding men and do what you want to do. With him, her heart is raining every day, complaining, sad, unwilling, and collapsing. For your own good, I think giving up is also a kind treatment for yourself. Bai Ye said softly, as if she was treating her like a real patient. The thing I want to do the most is to be with him. I don't like other men at all. Su Shaoling said with a cold face. He might think so too. It's the most uncomfortable to want something but not get it. You need to adjust your state of mind. The psychiatrist only tells you the method. Whether you want to use it or not, no one can force you. Sometimes, a lot of things are not forced on you by others, but by yourself. It's easy to say. What if it's you? What would you do if your fiancé or husband had a dead woman in his heart? Su Shaoling stared at Bai Ye. What would you do? Su Shaoling asked. No matter how sad I am, no matter how unwilling I am, no matter how wronged I feel, I will chase this person out of my heart. Since he doesn't love me, why should I love him? Since I will never be able to enter his heart, I would rather stay away from this person who makes me sad, Bai Ye said lightly. Can you do it? Su Shaoling's eyes were red. Why do you think I left here to study abroad? Bai Ye asked. Then why did you come back now? Su Shaoling pointed at the ground and said hatefully. Because I've already stopped loving, Bai Ye said clearly. He looked at her and smiled. I still remember when I first met you 3 years ago. Although you were arrogant, domineering, unruly, and willful, you were young and beautiful. Even in a crowd, you were the most eye-catching one. Look at you now. You are sallow and emaciated. Because of taking care of yourself or because you are in a bad mood, smoking and drinking, your complexion is very bad. The corners of your eyes are also full of wrinkles, acne, and spots. You look sickly. When you walk on the road, you look like a woman who has suffered a lot at home. Is it worth it for a man who doesn't love you? Bai Ye asked. It's easy to say. Is it because you have never gotten it? Su Shaoling said angrily. Do you think I have never loved Su Jiran? I have loved him. I love him very much. Even though I know he hired someone to kidnap me, I still walked into marriage with him without hesitation. Why do you think I walked into marriage with him? Bai Ye said with a smile. Her eyes were misty. Su Shaoling fixed her eyes on Bai Ye. Although she was not clear about the things between Bai Ye and Su Jiran, she knew that Su Jiran had many girlfriends. At that time, she was thinking who would be so unlucky to marry Su Jiran. It was equivalent to marrying a bus. Later, she found out that the person who married Su Jiran was Bai Ye. In an instant, all her arrogance disappeared. She lowered her head, and tears flowed out. The girl who was once so proud and stubborn shed tears in front of her love rival. If it was not an emotional breakdown, it would take a lot of courage. There are several kinds of feelings in this world. Family, friendship, love, and a third kind of feeling. 80% of people don't have love, friendship, and even family is indifferent. Their lovers go from being in love to not being in love. Their friends don't really care about them either. Usually, after a meal, they come together because of a common interest or a common dislike of someone. But the boat of friendship can capsize at any time. Because they pay too much attention to love, they don't have enough energy for other things. If the parents only have one child, it's fine. If there are too many children, the relationship will be different because of the frequency of contact. There will be complaints, and even hatred. Su Shaoling, you are actually very lucky. You have parents who love you, and you have a brother who loves you. Your only mistake is that you fell in love with a man who will never fall in love with you. For this man, you hurt your family, friends, and yourself. Is it worth it? Bai Yi said softly. Su Shaoling's face was already full of tears. She raised her head and looked at Bai Yi. How should I walk out from this? Bai Yi, teach me. Human life is very short. Ask yourself honestly. If I give you 50 years, can you make Gu Lingqing look back? Bai Yi said cruelly. Su Shaoling shook her head. Impossible. In his heart, there is only the dead Zhou Hailan. The average lifespan of people in our country is 72 years. You should be 30 years old this year. That's still 42 years. She had a one-sided love for Gu Lingqing since a long time ago. She had never truly enjoyed love. She had never been loved by a man who wasn't her family. Su Jiran, let go of the past and have a good relationship. If you can't find the man you love the most, then find a man who loves you the most. As she said this, Bai Yi's eyes turned red. Wasn't she saying it for her to hear? I. Su Shaoling frowned. It was hard for her to say it. She wiped her tears and looked at Bai Yi. She gathered her courage and said, I have syphilis. It's not like it can't be cured. In the future, love yourself and others. Find a man who loves you and take the necessary measures. Slowly cure it, just like how you cure your heart. Everything will be fine, Bai Yi said calmly. For no reason, tears flowed down her face. Su Shaoling's situation was similar to hers. They both fell in love with a man who only loved a woman to death. In the process of curing Su Shaoling, she also found a way to cure herself. Chapter 192. After Su Shaoling left, Bai Yi needed to adjust her state. She raised a cup of tea and stood by the window, looking at the passers-by outside. Some of them were full of smiles and full of vigor, some of them were pale and distressed, and some of them hid all their emotions and became indifferent. All kinds of expressions, moods, and states. Perhaps this was life. Everyone was lucky to be born into the world. God gave them this opportunity to experience life. In life, there were ups and downs. Happy, sad, worried, and leisurely. Those who were not satisfied would feel happy when they ate a meat bun. Those who were not easily satisfied, even if they had the Manchu Han imperial feast, would think that there was a dish missing and become unhappy. She should have no desires, so that she would not be tired. Willing you have to give up to get. She missed the scenery of Gu Lingqing. Perhaps she could see another scenery that was not bad. She should really give up. Her phone rang. She saw that it was Gu Lingqing, so she answered it calmly. Bai Yi, do you think it's easier to get things done with the chief or with your boyfriend? Gu Lingqing asked in a deep voice. Bai Yi was a little absent-minded. Because of his words, she almost lost her mind and influenced her decision. She was silent for a while. It's important to know one's own limits. I don't live in the same world as you, Chief. Then why did you call me? Gu Lingqing hung up the phone unhappily. Bai Yi, it was good that he took the initiative to hang up the phone. Otherwise, what she said next might not be pleasant to hear. Bai Yi put her phone in her bag, walked to Mu Xiaoxing's office, knocked on the door, and pushed it in. Standing in front of the whiteboard, Mu Xiaoxing was very anxious. When he saw Bai Yi come in, it was as if he had seen his savior. Come, help me analyze who killed Tony. Who could it be? Deputy Chief Sue asked me to solve the case in 3 days. How is that possible? Baya glanced at the whiteboard. Is Sue Xiaoling a suspect? There is a motive. She was infected with syphilis at Tony's place, so she asked Tony to go. She also said that she wanted to kill Tony, but it was not worth it, so she let Tony go. What time did she let Tony go? What time did Tony die? Who else did Tony see in between? Baya asked. The forensics department hasn't gotten the information yet. Do you know Qin Jing's apartment? Su Xiaoling rented a hotel apartment there, which was convenient for dating. Tony went there at 10 o'clock in the evening. Strangely, he did not see the video of Tony coming out of Su Xiaoling's room. Then, at 5 o'clock the next morning, a worker working in a public toilet found his body. Mu Xiaoxing was puzzled. Get the police to check Su Xiaoling's room and see if there's any blood on the floor. Then ask Su Xiaoling if she saw Tony leave the room. Also, don't stay in your office. You should go to the police station. They will get the information from the forensics department as soon as possible and give you the details. I'll go to the police station later. The forensics department should have the results. Mu Xiaoxing put down his pen. I'll go to the police station later. The forensics department should have the results. Mu Xiaoxing put down his pen. Well, Xiaoxing, for example, I want to test DNA or extract fingerprints for comparison. Do you have any connections that can help? Baya asked. If I had any connections, would I still be waiting for the forensics department's results? I asked them to give me the results within an hour, not so long, Mu Xiaoxing said irritably. Baya thought about it and agreed. After all, this was a series of procedures. Unless, she thought of Gu Lingqing again. An idea flashed through Baya's mind. She went to look for Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang was playing games. When he saw Baya coming over, he looked at the computer. Are you off work? Wait for me. I'll be playing soon. Okay. Baya sat on the sofa. Her phone rang. It was Gu Lingqing. She hesitated for a while and answered, but she didn't say anything. Gu Lingqing didn't say anything either. Baya waited for a while. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. I've squeezed out some time tonight. Do you want to continue with the lunch? You still owe me a meal, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Baya looked at Lu Shuang. Did you find out where Lu Shuang lives if not in the military? Yes. I know. What's wrong? I'll cook a few dishes, Baya invited. Okay. I'll be there at around 7. Baya hung up. Lu Shuang was already standing in front of her. He smiled slyly. Who are you inviting to my place for dinner? Your new boyfriend. Gu Lingqing, don't go away this time. Baya stood up and held Lu Shuang's arm. Let's go. We'll report to the police station first. I'll say that I was raped. I'll provide a condom and let the police go through the normal procedures. They should be able to find the culprit soon. Lu Shuang was completely stunned. You're involved with Gu Lingqing again. Also, if you report to the police, it will affect your reputation. It's not good. Forget it. I'll just take it that I was bitten by a dog. Anyway, it's not the first time I was bitten by a dog. It's fine as long as I'm not sick. I don't care about my reputation. I can't let the culprit get away with it. Forget it, when the time comes, you will go to jail for slandering me. Forget it, it's better to avoid trouble. Forget it, I won't say anything, it won't affect my marriage. If this matter gets blown up, I will become a laughing stock in the military, and my parents will also be implicated. Forget it, forget it. Forget it. Tell me, what's going on between you and Gu Lingqing? Lu Shuang asked worriedly. There's nothing going on between me and him. I owe him a favor. I'll treat him to a meal and we'll be even, Bai Yi said calmly. You have to think carefully. Gu Lingqing's family won't accept you. You finally have a stable life. If you lose your life in a relationship, it's not worth it, Lu Shuang reminded her. I know what I'm doing. Don't worry, Bai Yi said with a smile. She went to buy pork ribs, winter gourd, sword beans, shredded meat, tomatoes, eggs, green peppers, and beef. She made beef ribs with green peppers, eggs with tomatoes, shredded meat, and winter gourd and pork ribs soup. Gu Lingqing came on time. He brought roses and red wine. He took off his military uniform and changed into a black suit. His posture was straight. When Lu Shuang saw Gu Lingqing, he was still a little scared. He stood up and greeted respectfully, Chief. Gu Lingqing nodded and passed the roses to Bai Yi. He said in a deep voice, after dinner, accompany me to a place. After that, you can tell me your final decision. No matter what your decision is, I'll respect it. Bai Yi paused. Chapter 193. Bai Yi had a lot on her mind as she ate. She peeked at Gu Lingqing. He was well-mannered. He ate slowly and looked at Bai Yi. His eyes met hers. Bai Yi felt a little guilty, and her eyes flickered away. He picked up a piece of pork rib and put it in Bai Yi's bowl. You should eat more. You're too skinny. It won't be easy for you to get pregnant if you're so skinny, Gu Lingqing said seriously. Bai Yi blushed. Get pregnant? What was he thinking? Lu Shuang looked at Gu Lingqing suspiciously. Then, he looked at Bai Yi and then at Gu Lingqing. He was still looking at Bai Yi. There was only Bai Yi in his eyes. She lost her memory but she could find it again. Was that love? Bureau Chief, do you like Little White? Lu Shuang was straightforward and asked directly. Bai Yi was nervous. She held her chopsticks and lowered her head, pretending that she didn't care about the answer. Just when she thought that he wouldn't answer, he answered, Bai Yi's hands were trembling. Lu Shuang held Bai Yi's hands and looked at Gu Lingqing. What if your parents object? Your family is powerful, but we, Bai Yi, have nothing. With my current status, I can marry freely. I won't be restricted by anyone, Gu Lingqing promised. Lu Shuang smiled and looked at Bai Yi. He realized that Bai Yi's face was dark. She couldn't see any joy. Then, when are you going to marry Bai Yi? You lost your memory but Bai Yi didn't. You guys have talked about it before. You have to be responsible for Xiao Bai, Lu Shuang pressed. Cool girl, Bai Yi interrupted Lu Shuang. I don't need anyone to be responsible. Seeing that Bai Yi was angry, Lu Shuang immediately shut up. I'll take responsibility. Gu Lingqing promised Bai Yi. Bai Yi smiled faintly, but there was a mystery in his eyes that he couldn't see through. Does Chief Gu think that I can't support myself or that I can't find a boyfriend? I don't need you to be responsible for me. I can still live a good life. I can also find a man who likes me. Weakling, I am not a weakling. Gu Lingqing's eyes darkened, and his tone was very unpleasant. Who else do you want to look for? Seeing that Gu Lingqing was about to get angry, Lu Shuang hurriedly said, Bai Yi didn't mean that she would find a boyfriend even if leader Gu didn't want her. Did I say that I don't want you anymore? Gu Lingqing stared at Bai Yi. I don't need it, Bai Yi replied. You just don't want me anymore, right? Gu Lingqing slammed his chopsticks on the table and quickly left Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang looked at Gu Lingqing, then looked at Bai Yi. He became anxious and said to Bai Yi, what are you doing? Wasn't the atmosphere quite good just now? Although Gu Lingqing is a harsh and resolute person, he is a man of his word. If he says that he will be responsible for you, he will definitely be responsible for you. Xiao Bai, I think you're wrong. Cool girl, I know what I'm doing, Bai said rationally. You'll push him far away like this. Lu Shuang was anxious. He rushed to the window and saw Gu Lingqing smoking under the street lamp. Xiao Bai, she hasn't left yet. It's not too late if you chase after her. If a person can be pushed far away because of a push, do you think that he will last long? Forget it. I'll wash the dishes. Bai took the dishes to the kitchen. Her phone rang. She saw it was Mu Xiaoxing and answered the phone. What's wrong? Have you finished dinner? Mu Xiaoxing asked. Yes, I'm washing the dishes now. What's wrong? Bai was puzzled. Then let's have supper together. There's crayfish in the market now. I'll treat you to some. Hee, Mu Xiaoxing invited enthusiastically. Tell me, what's the matter? You don't have to beat around the bush with me. Bai was a little impatient. Mu Xiaoxing frowned and said softly, my case is blocked by someone. That person needs to invite you out through me. Who? Bai was puzzled. Your ex-husband, Mu Xiaoxing said apologetically. Bai paused. Su Jiran took Mu Xiaoxing's phone and said, Xiaoya. Threats, inducements, coercion. After so many years, you still haven't changed at all. Bai curled up the corner of her mouth and said sarcastically. I want to see you, but I'm afraid you won't come out. In a few days, I may have good news to tell you, Su Jiran said softly. If I don't come out, will you block Mu Xiaoxing? Bai asked coldly. Blocking is not my purpose. I just want to see you. Then don't block him. It's too late today. Tomorrow, I'll treat you to lunch tomorrow. Bai said straightforwardly. Based on her understanding of Su Jiran, he was a person who would not give up until he achieved his goal. She had to see him eventually. However, she was a little tired and upset today. On the surface, nothing seemed to happen, but in fact, her heart was heavy, as if something was pressing on it. Okay, see you tomorrow. I'll pick you up at the research institute. Good night, Su Jiran said softly. Bai hung up the phone, put the bowl in the cupboard, and turned around. Lu Shuang stood at the door and looked at her worriedly. Let me tell you my opinion. Su Jiran is a prodigal son who has turned back. In the 3 years when you were away, he was really clean and self-disciplined. He didn't get involved with anything and waited for you to come back. As for Gu Lingqing, he is unattainable and not easy to talk to. He is relatively dull. The key is that he lost his memory. If he didn't lose his memory, maybe it would be a good choice. After all, now his parents can't control him. Bai lowered her eyes. She remembered what Ling Chozuan said about Su Jiran. Just in time, she wanted to ask him in detail tomorrow. Let nature take its course. Plans can't keep up with changes. In this world, we can't do whatever we want. We can take one step at a time and see the scenery. It's good to be carefree. Bai smiled. Xiaoya, I really feel that you're different from before. You used to be stubborn, but now you look so open-minded and fairy-like, Lu Shuang said in admiration. I'm also stubborn now. But even if I know it's a stubborn problem, because my cognition is there, I can't convince myself not to do it, so I just don't struggle. Bai shrugged. I'm leaving. If I don't leave now, it'll be late. Lu Shuang hugged Bai. Move in with me. Don't you think it's expensive to stay in a hotel alone? Bai tapped Lu Shuang's nose. You're in the military 6 days a week. I'll be lonely here. There are many people in the hotel, and it's close to my workplace. With my current salary, it's not a problem for me to stay in a hotel. Alright then, I'll share a bed with you during the holidays. Okay. Baiya smiled. She walked out of the staircase. Suddenly, her arm was held. Gu Lingqing was pulling her away. She didn't expect Gu Lingqing to still be here. What? Baiya didn't understand. Chapter 194. Baiya did not know where he was taking her. Anyway, it was impossible for Gu Lingqing to do anything to her. How long will it take? Baiya looked at the dark night outside the window and asked. About an hour and a half, Gu Lingqing replied. Call me when we arrive. She leaned back on the chair and closed her eyes. Gu Lingqing took off his suit and put it on her. Baiya was not asleep. She could smell the faint smell of tobacco on his clothes. Was he smoking just now? She did not like the smell of tobacco. She opened her eyes and looked at him. 3 years had passed. Gu Lingqing had become more mature. He was introverted and did not like to talk. However, he still gave people a reassuring feeling. This was probably the characteristic of a soldier. Don't smoke in the future. It's not good for your health, Baiya said gently. I didn't like to smoke in the past. I often had insomnia in the past 3 years. My condition is not good. The pressure from work is also great. I smoke a little too much. Now, I'm used to smoking. You have to supervise me in the future, Gu Lingqing said seriously. Baiya turned around and faced the window. She did not speak. The window reflected her and Gu Lingqing's shadows. Chief, can I do a psychological test for you? Baiya asked gently. Okay. Go ahead. If you're watching a horror movie, where do you think the ghost will appear? 1. The elevator, 2. The toilet, 3. Under the table, and 4. The locker. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing. I never watch horror movies. I don't believe in ghosts in this world, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Baiya, let's change the question. You're walking on the road one day and you see a person almost getting hit. You want the person to be a woman, a man, a child, and an elderly. Choose. Baiya was a little angry. He did not cooperate at all. What does it have to do with me whether the person is hit or not? Gu Lingqing was confused. Baiya did not want to talk to him anymore. She turned her face away. Gu Lingqing frowned. If I had to choose, it would be a man. Baiya understood and nodded. I understand. What do you know? Can you let me know the result? Gu Lingqing asked. The person who chooses the second option is resolute, courageous, resolute, straightforward, and rational. However, they are afraid of trouble and are not easily attracted by the temptations of the outside world. They also have their own goals and thoughts, and are more level-headed. They are the best choice for a partner. Baiya did not want to say the last sentence. Gu Lingqing raised the corner of her lips. Her smile was very faint, so it was not easy to notice. Do you know why I chose B? Old people are old. Even if they were almost hit, it would cause their blood pressure to rise, and their hearts would not be able to bear it. The child was still too young and easily frightened, causing trauma. Women were too troublesome. Men are agile. As long as they dodge it, this matter is basically over. Gu Lingqing analyzed. I think you have a prejudice against women. What's troublesome about women? Baiya asked. When a woman is almost hit, she will definitely call her boyfriend to complain. She might even find the driver to argue with. Gu Lingqing, you haven't found a girlfriend for so many years because you are afraid of trouble, right? Baya interrupted him. If it were me, do you think I would call you and cry, or would I argue with the driver? So I know why I liked you in the past, Gu Lingqing said directly, looking at Baya with a burning gaze. Baya's heart was trembling, especially his gaze. It made her feel very uncomfortable. Drive, look ahead. Gu Lingqing replied. Baya lowered her eyes. What was strange about women was that even though they knew that there was another woman in the other party's heart, they would still continue to test and test, wanting to prove that they were in the other party's heart. Because of this little bit of hope, they would soften and surrender. They would think that they could replace that woman's position. But the truth was, in this world, the most difficult thing to control was the human heart. If it was too close, people would naturally reject it. If it was too far, people would naturally ignore it. It was just right. However, no one would be able to grasp the perfect distance. Baya felt sad, and her eyes were also trembling. She didn't want to cry in front of Gu Lingqing, so she forced herself not to think too much. Sometimes, it would be painful to see too clearly. Foolishness, ignorance, and self-righteousness were the happiest. For example, children who thought little, couldn't think clearly, and were forgetful. Unknowingly, they arrived at Gu Lingqing's military area. When the soldiers saw that it was Gu Lingqing's car, they all saluted. However, when it came to the second checkpoint, someone would come to check. This was the strict requirement that Gu Lingqing had for his own military area. After the check, the soldiers saluted again. Baya came to his military area more than 3 years ago. Compared to the past, there was a lot of change, and a few more buildings were built. However, Gu Lingqing still lived in the same place as before. She followed him and went to the basement. Baya thought of the secret room that Su Shaoling mentioned. Although she didn't show it at that time, she felt uncomfortable in her heart. The closer she got to that door, the more she resisted getting closer. Why did you bring me here? Baya stopped. Gu Lingqing didn't force her and pushed the door of the secret room open. Baya walked in subconsciously, and what she saw was her photo. She looked at Gu Lingqing in surprise. She was so nervous that her hands were trembling. Gu Lingqing held her hand and walked in. The secret room was full of her photos. Some of them were taken from her QQ space that she hadn't used for a long time, and some were taken by him in secret. I hung these photos in the afternoon, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice and took a red jewelry box from the table. Baya glanced at the jewelry box and looked at Gu Lingqing. He looked at her deeply, as serious as ever, but there was a heart-wrenching pain in his eyes. 3 years ago, I woke up from the operating room bed. My mind was on fire, and I went back to a mission a long time ago. In this mission, all the people I brought with me died. Only one spy survived, and my girlfriend, Zhou Hailan, died at the same time. My memory didn't include you at all. From that day onwards, I kept dreaming of a girl crying. She kept shouting, Gu Lingqing, where are you? I thought that girl was Zhou Hailan. I don't have any impression of you. I'm sorry, I forgot about you, Gu Lingqing explained. Baya turned her face away. The memory of the past was too painful. When she recalled it, her face was already covered in tears. It wasn't until I met you 3 years ago that I felt strangely familiar with you. I went to ask about you, and it seemed like someone had purposely erased part of your past. I also went to your school to visit you many times, and as time went by, I felt more and more like the girl who was crying and looking for me was you. Baya. Chapter 195. Women had the softest heart. Quarreling with her boyfriend was not to break up, but to let him be what she wanted him to be. Getting angry with her boyfriend was not to break up, but to find out if he had her in his heart. She was the same. She didn't care if he was rich, powerful, or handsome. Even if he didn't have money or a house, she was willing to be with him. She just hoped that he had her in his heart, so that she wouldn't feel aggrieved no matter what sacrifice she had to make. She was afraid that he didn't have her in his heart. Then, she would really feel aggrieved. Baya wanted to give herself a chance, one last chance. It could be considered as doing her best for her last love. She pointed at his heart with her index finger. Do you have me here? Yes. Gu Lingqing looked at her deeply and said firmly. Can you let me replace Zhou Heilan's position in your heart? Baya asked with reddened eyes. I'm already doing it, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Okay. I'll marry you. In the future, as long as you don't let me down, no matter how hard it is, I'll be with you. Baya made up her mind. Gu Lingqing knelt on one knee on the ground. We'll get our marriage certificate tomorrow. Military marriages couldn't be divorced. Once they got married, there was no medicine for regret. Baya hesitated for a moment, and she felt a chill on her ring finger. Gu Lingqing put it on her finger, held her hand, lowered his head, and kissed her forehead. You promised me, so don't say the word breakup again. I definitely won't say it either. Okay. Baya replied chokingly, and her tears continued to flow. Gu Lingqing kissed her tears, and slowly moved down to her soft lips. Baya closed her eyes and kissed him back. Gu Lingqing's breathing became heavier, and her breathing became erratic. He carried her on a long table, and his large palm unbuttoned her jeans, took them off, and placed them on the chair. Baya could feel his solid presence. It was very deep and very hot. It was getting hotter and hotter. She collapsed weakly. Gu Lingqing wrapped his arms around her shoulders and supported all of her weight. He wasn't in a hurry and did a good job. Baya's gaze gradually became unfocused. She clutched his arm tightly. As she screamed, he kissed her lips, swallowed her voice, and kissed her crazily. Baya's thoughts drifted to another space, and she allowed him to kiss her. A minute later, he placed her on the table and gave himself over to his senses. Xiaoya, give me a child, Gu Lingqing said hoarsely. Baya slowly came back to her senses. Because of what had just happened, she looked at him with a sensuality and bewitchment that had yet to fade away. She couldn't have children while she was still on medication. She had to stop taking the medicine for at least 3 months before she could have a child. But once she stopped taking the medicine, would her insomnia be cured? While she was in a trance, he also arrived. His abdomen was tight, and his chocolate-like abs were full of explosive power. He wasn't in a hurry to come out, and he kissed her forehead gently. Stay at my place tonight. Baya replied. He draped his clothes over her. His clothes were very big, and she could wear them as a dress. He carried her to his room, placed her in the bathtub, and turned on the water to bathe her. Baya thought of a problem. I can't stay at your place tonight, my clothes are still at the hotel. Gu Lingqing took a shower. You don't have to worry about that, I'll get someone to bring your luggage over. After we get our marriage certificate tomorrow, I'll buy a house near your workplace as a wedding house. Do you want Mao Pei's house, or a renovated one? I'll buy it with you when I'm free. Baya's heart felt a little wet. Gu Lingqing was still as meticulous as ever, arranging everything in an orderly manner. By Mao Pei's house. What style do you like for the renovations? Baya asked seriously. Gu Lingqing was done bathing, and he also finished washing up. He wrapped a towel around himself and kissed Baya's forehead. As long as you like it. Don't soak for too long, or you'll catch a cold. I'll get someone to prepare a pillow. Baya replied, and watched as Gu Lingqing left. She looked at the ring on her finger. It was 3 carats, very bright, and very shiny, so bright that her eyes hurt a little. In the end, she still married Gu Lingqing. She lowered her head and kissed the ring. She got up from the bathtub and wrapped a towel around herself. Gu Lingqing didn't have her toiletries here, so she wanted to rinse her mouth. Gu Lingqing walked in. He changed into his usual pajamas, and gave her new toiletries and a black undershirt. Bai Ye took it. You can use these toiletries and leave them with me. I'll still come often in the future. The undershirt is mine. Wash it and wear it to sleep, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Okay. After Bai Ye brushed her teeth and washed her face, she sniffed the clothes that Gu Lingqing gave her. The clothes had a fragrant smell. She changed and went out of the bathroom. Gu Lingqing laid the pillow and quilt. You sleep inside? Gu Lingqing asked. She was used to sleeping alone, but a long time ago, when she slept with Gu Lingqing, she did sleep inside. Yes. Bai Ye went to bed first. She looked at the time. It was almost 12 o'clock. She put her phone under the pillow. Gu Lingqing took her phone away, put it on the bedside table, and explained, phones have radiation. Bai Ye responded, with her back facing him. Gu Lingqing turned off the light. She didn't take the medicine and stared at the air in a daze. Behind her, Gu Lingqing breathed evenly. She forced herself to close her eyes, but she still couldn't sleep. She turned around and faced him. He closed his eyes, and his breathing was very light. Even when he slept, he was so elegant and noble, like a prince. Gu Lingqing suddenly opened his eyes. Bai Ye was caught red-handed and was shocked. Can't sleep? Gu Lingqing asked. His voice was hoarse, with the intoxication of the night. Just sleep, don't worry about me. I can't sleep either. Let's do something else. Gu Lingqing invited. Didn't we do it before? I only did it with you once a night before. Gu Lingqing was very curious. Not really. That was different. It was very difficult for me to see you at that time. It was inevitable that I would be aroused and want to separate, so I didn't control myself. Besides, you were in your 20s at that time. I heard you say that I was your first woman, Bai Ye said softly. Now, I'm also the only one, Gu Lingqing said with certainty. Bai Ye's heart palpitated. She turned over and covered his body. Looking at his resolute face, she was the first to blush. Then, let's do something. Chapter 196. Half an hour later, Bai Ye and Gu Lingqing fell asleep. They didn't even take a shower. It was indeed easier to fall asleep after exercising. Early in the morning, Bai Ye heard birds chirping. When she opened her eyes, it was dawn. She looked to the side. Gu Lingqing wasn't there anymore. She picked up the phone on the bedside table and looked at it. It was only 5:30. Gu Lingqing woke up early. She saw her suitcase next to the coffee table. She didn't even know when he put the suitcase in the room. She got out of bed and opened the suitcase. Everything was there. She changed her clothes and walked into the bathroom. There was a new set of cosmetics from Lanmer on the sink. She remembered that a long time ago, the first set of cosmetics he gave her was from this brand. It seemed that he loved this international brand. Bai Ye smiled slightly. After washing up, she was about to wash her clothes when she realized that the clothes she changed out of yesterday were gone. She went out. Morning, the orderly greeted her respectfully. Bai Ye was too embarrassed to ask about her clothes. Where's Gu Lingqing? Bai Ye asked. The chief should be at the training ground now. He'll be back at 6. If you're hungry, you can have breakfast first, the orderly said with a smile. Madam. The word was unfamiliar, but now it made her feel happy. I'll go out and look for him. As soon as Baya stepped out of the door, she saw Gu Lingqing walking over, followed by Lieutenant Colonel Song and 2 colonels. Lieutenant Colonel Song was reporting something. Gu Lingqing listened expressionlessly and nodded from time to time. She saw that he was busy with work, so she didn't disturb him. She turned around and walked into the room. Gu Lingqing had already seen her, but he didn't call out to her. Instead, he ordered Lieutenant Colonel Song, cancel the meeting at 8 in the morning. Also, find a good wedding company and arrange a romantic wedding. I want to get married. Ha! The chief is getting married. Lieutenant Colonel Song was surprised. Bastard, the chief is already 32 years old. Can't he get married? The colonel scolded. Yes, I'll do it in a moment. Lieutenant Colonel Song nodded. All of you are dismissed. Gu Lingqing ordered and walked into the room. Baiyo was not in the living room. Where's madam? Gu Lingqing asked the attendant. He just returned to his room, the orderly reported. Let's prepare breakfast. While saying that, Gu Lingqing pushed the door open and went inside. Baiyo was sitting on the sofa playing with her phone. When she saw him, she stood up. You guys finished talking so quickly. Gu Lingqing held her waist. You don't have to hide from me anymore. Baiyo smiled. The harem is not allowed to interfere with politics. It's better to stay away from it. What you're talking about is military secrets. If anything goes wrong, I'll be the main suspect. It's safest not to know. That makes sense. There will be a document for you later. Your research institute has already approved it, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baiyo was confused. What document is for me? What did the research institute approve? Xiong Jiqing and Xiong Chang'an's incident made me realize that we need to strengthen the psychological construction of soldiers. You're the expert in this area. Directly hire the special forces for 3 months. The specific plan will be discussed in the meeting in the afternoon. Why didn't I know about this? The document is direct. If you go to your research institute in the morning, you should be able to get it from Mu Shaoxing. Baiya, why did she feel that he acted first and reported later? If I don't accept your proposal, will this document still be valid? Baiya asked suspiciously. Whether you accept my proposal or not, this document will be sent to you, Gu Lingqing said domineeringly. Baiya stared at him. In the past, were you pursuing Zhou Hailan or was it Zhou Hailan who pursued you? You're too autocratic. You're the only girl that I've ever pursued, Gu Lingqing explained. Baiya slightly raised the corner of her mouth. This satisfied her vanity as a woman. Gu Lingqing saw her smile and also raised a smile. Baiya, there's one thing I want to tell you in advance. In a military marriage, the non-soldier party has to file for divorce, unless I have made a serious mistake. I understand. She knew it. She had thought about it yesterday. You and I will act first and report later. If my parents' people make things difficult for you, you don't have to pay attention to it. You're living with me, not with them. In fact, I can't see them for a while in a month now, so you don't have to worry about it. Baiya nodded. She had experienced his style of acting first and reporting later. The current Baiya was no longer the Baiya of the past. She was more ruthless, rational, and cold than the past Baiya. The last one, the wedding banquet. Do you want it to be a big one or just a gathering of close relatives? Gu Lingqing asked. Gu Lingqing asked her because he respected her opinion. However, he was the chief, so it would be inappropriate if the wedding was not a big one. I'll listen to you, I don't mind. Gu Lingqing smiled. Let's have breakfast first, then we'll go to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Asterisk on the way to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Baya looked out of the window. She felt uneasy, as if everything was just a dream. She was going to be Gu Lingqing's wife soon. She thought about it a lot. Especially about her and Gu Lingqing's child. If she told Gu Lingqing, would he be able to find it? Or was the child already dead, and it was just an empty celebration? If she told Gu Lingqing about the child, it would definitely involve the rape incident 6 years ago. She was conflicted. Gu Lingqing's phone rang. Baya came back to her senses and looked at Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing saw the caller ID and frowned slightly. He picked up the phone. Mom, what's up? I heard that you're getting married. Who are you going to marry? Song Shiyu asked in surprise. You're very well informed. You should know Baya, right? Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. He looked ahead with a deep gaze. His face was expressionless, but there was a hint of coldness and harshness. Why are you marrying her? How long have you known each other? Song Shiyu was shocked. I've known her for a long time. You should know this very well, Gu Lingqing said with certainty. His eyes were full of sarcasm. Baya told you. Song Shiyu was shocked, and there was a hint of panic in her shock. I just recovered some of my memories. Baya didn't say anything. Alright, I'm busy now. I'll contact you later. Since I'm marrying her, I'll definitely bring her back to visit. We don't accept it, Song Shiyu said with certainty. It's up to you whether you accept it or not. I'm just informing you. Gu Lingqing didn't give Song Shiyu any chance to speak and hung up the phone. Baya's phone rang. She saw that it was Song Shiyu's call and picked it up. Baya, what are you doing? You promised to leave Lingqing, Song Shiyu asked angrily. I'm sorry, I regret it. Chapter 197. Have you forgotten your lesson? Song Shiyu warned. Previously, Song Shiyu and Gu Tianhang had kidnapped her and threatened Gu Lingqing to marry Su Shaoling. They had even chopped off her fingers. Her heart ached when she thought about it. Baya became colder and colder. She pursed her lips and said, I've already written this down. This incident refers to the time when you kidnapped me 3 years ago. The reason why I was kidnapped was related to Governor Qing. I used my real name for all the people who appeared. I put this information in a black box in the United States for my friend's safekeeping. With my current reputation in the industry, my autobiography will definitely be believed by many professionals abroad. Even if it's fake, many people will make a fuss about it. Moreover, it's true and there's evidence to back it up. Are you crazy? Do you know how many people will suffer if you expose this? It might shake the foundation, Song Shiyu said anxiously. It doesn't depend on me. It depends on whether you're crazy or not. As long as it doesn't endanger my interests and life, I hope to live in peace. But if even my life is threatened, I'm sorry, but I don't have the time and energy to care about others. I only know who killed me. Baya said coldly. There was a sharp light in her eyes. Does Gu Lingqing know that you're so cunning? Song Shiyu asked with a pale face. Many people often forget or hide what they've done when they're questioning others. Speaking of cunning and cunning, Mrs. Song, have you ever reflected on yourself? Baya said calmly. What a glib tongue. I won't agree to let you marry into the Gu family, Song Shiyu said angrily. Baya smiled. It doesn't matter whether you agree or not. It won't change the result. You treat me well and treat me as your daughter-in-law. I'll be filial to you and treat you as my mother. Forget it. I don't want a daughter-in-law like you, Song Shiyu said. Baya understood. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. Baya, you want to marry into the Gu family. Don't you think your attitude is wrong? If Lingqing marries you, I will be your husband's mother. Your attitude will put your husband in a difficult position. Song Shiyu lectured in the manner of an elder. You threatened me from the very beginning, telling me not to forget what happened 3 years ago. It's already polite of me to talk to you now. You just said that there is no such thing as a daughter-in-law like me. Since you don't want to acknowledge me, why should I acknowledge you? Also, it's not me who's making things difficult for Gu Lingqing, it's you. In addition, you are filled with disgust, disdain, and disdain towards me. This will not change because of my submissiveness. Instead, it will only become worse because of my compromise. If that happens, I will live in a shadow for the rest of my life. I've even let myself down. How can I let others down? I'm sorry, but I don't want you to struggle at death's door and bow and scrape. Baya said coldly. 3 years ago, she learned the importance of power. Crying and pitiful to gain sympathy, but the dominant power was in the hands of others. Sometimes, when others wanted to target you, they wouldn't stop just because you were miserable. Then, she would protect herself. 3 years ago, Baya was so weak that she couldn't do anything even if she was killed by Song Shiyu and Gu Tianhang. Now, she wouldn't be as cowardly as she was 3 years ago. You insist on marrying my son, right? Song Shiyu was also angry. What do you think? Baya just asked back. 3 years ago, I thought you were a good girl. It seems that I misjudged you. If I knew you were such a person, I wouldn't have been merciful, Song Shiyu said angrily. It doesn't matter to me at all. I don't care. That's all right. I'm hanging up. Baya hung up the phone before Song Shiyu said anything. Although she said that she didn't care, she still cared about it. After all, that person was Gu Lingqing's mother, the mother of the man that she loved. Baya looked at Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing looked forward expressionlessly. I'm sorry, I don't get along well with your mother. Gu Lingqing's eyes were deep. Part of Baya's past information was erased. His parents tried everything to stop him from investigating the past. He guessed what his parents had done. 3 years ago, my parents kidnapped you and used you to force me to marry Su Shaoling, right? Gu Lingqing asked coldly. Your parents thought that you should marry someone better. Maybe they did it out of love for you. Baya said and looked out of the window. She didn't want to sow discord between Gu Lingqing and his parents. They chopped off your little finger, and I also chopped off my own little finger. They used self-mutilation to force my parents to compromise. In the end, I only got engaged to Su Shaoling, Gu Lingqing guessed. Baya looked at Gu Lingqing. Back then, the main reason why Gu Tianhang forced Gu Lingqing to marry Su Shaoling was that Su Jing had something on Gu Tianhang. In everyone's heart, they didn't want their parents to be bad. She kept this reason in her heart. It wasn't that she was noble, but she didn't want the man she loved to be sad. Everything is in the past now. Can we be considered to have seen the moon after the clouds have parted? Baya said with a smile and changed the topic. Gu Lingqing held Baya's hand and looked at her without saying a word. He was a man of few words, but there were thousands of words in his eyes. Unknowingly, they arrived at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Before we get married, you can ask for anything, Gu Lingqing held her hand and said. I only have one request. Baya thought about it carefully. Gu Lingqing looked at her and asked, what is it? If I ask for a divorce one day, I hope that you can agree. A military marriage can't be divorced, which means that the one who isn't a soldier can't ask for a divorce. However, you can ask for a divorce. Can you agree to it? Baya looked at him and said. Gu Lingqing frowned and his heart tightened. His eyes darkened, as if he had fallen into a frozen lake and felt uncomfortable. You haven't gotten married yet and you're already thinking about a divorce. Everyone who is preparing to get married has never thought about a divorce. However, when it's time for a divorce, they don't think about remarrying. Because when they get married, most people think about the good of the other party. When they get divorced, most people think about the bad of the other party. I think it's better to be more rational before getting married. It'll help the stability of the marriage. What do you think? Bai tried to persuade Gu Lingqing. I think you're too cold sometimes, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. She didn't think the word cold was a good word when it came from his mouth. Perhaps she was cold enough. People who had never experienced love and kinship were born to be so cold. Baiya's lips twitched in self-mockery. Why don't? Chapter 198. I've already noted this down. Don't mention it again in the future. Gu Lingqing used a commanding tone. Since she had decided to get married, she had to forget all the unhappy factors today. Baiya nodded and smiled. Let's go, dear Mr. Gu. Are you still Mr. Gu? Gu Lingqing was dissatisfied with this title. She was not willing to marry him after all. Then, my husband? Baiya asked tentatively. Gu Lingqing slightly raised the corner of his mouth. That's okay. Let's go. Gu Lingqing held her hand and walked to the Civil Affairs Bureau. The morning sun was not strong. It fell on the two of them, and their shadows folded together. Baiya realized that Gu Lingqing was actually nervous. His palms were sweaty, and his palms were sticky when holding hers. He walked in, looked around, and walked to the window. Hello, you're here to get married, Gu Lingqing said to the staff at the window. Makeup is not allowed. You have to pay $9.90. Is the girl pregnant? If not, you have to go through a routine gynecological examination. In addition, do you have a prenuptial agreement? Do you need to do a property appraisal? The staff was an impatient person and said a lot of things. If you're not pregnant, you don't need a prenuptial agreement or a property appraisal, Gu Lingqing said. The staff pushed up his black-rimmed glasses and looked at Gu Lingqing. Baiya didn't say anything. He handed the ID and the residence booklet to the staff. Gu Lingqing also handed over the ID. He could have handed over his military ID, but he didn't want to be too conspicuous, so he just handed over an ordinary ID and residence booklet. The staff thought that Gu Lingqing was quite handsome. She took a few more glances to see if he was a celebrity who came to get married. She had first-hand information. What's wrong? Gu Lingqing asked in confusion. Nothing. The staff lowered his head. She mainly wanted to check if she was registered as unmarried on the computer and if the number on the ID card was the same as the number on the household register. Baiya craned his neck to look at the photo on Gu Lingqing's ID card. Generally speaking, people's ID cards will be very ugly. Yours is not bad. Has it been processed? Baiya asked jokingly. Gu Lingqing cleared his throat and lowered his voice. Be serious. Baiya, how was she not serious? It was just that Gu Lingqing was very serious. After getting married, she acted as if she was facing a great enemy. Her expression was serious, meticulous, and serious. You have to smile when taking photos, Baiya reminded. Before Gu Lingqing could say anything, the impatient staff reminded, don't show your teeth when taking photos. Baiya was amused by the staff and giggled. The staff rolled her eyes at Baiya. Go inside for the premarital checkup. Pay for the groom. Oh. Baiya walked inside. The words, premarital checkup, were written on the door frame. Gu Lingqing took out 10 yuan from his wallet and passed it to the staff. We have a 9999 package. Do you want it? The staff recommended. What's a 999 package? Gu Lingqing was confused. It was his first time getting married in his life. He did not know anything. The 999 package allows you to leave your fingerprint and bring it back as a souvenir. It's very meaningful, the staff explained. Okay. Gu Lingqing was easy to talk to. He took out 1,000 yuan from his wallet and passed it to the staff. The staff happily took the money and gave Gu Lingqing a change of 1 yuan. Gu Lingqing then put it into the convenient merit box. Are you a celebrity? The staff asked nosily. No, Gu Lingqing replied seriously. Oh, you'll definitely be popular if you become a celebrity. You're so good-looking, the staff exclaimed. Gu Lingqing, when Baiya came out of the premarital checkup room, he saw Gu Lingqing sitting on the sofa and staring at the window without blinking. Baiya followed his gaze and saw a man and a woman standing at the window. What's wrong? Baiya asked. They're here for a divorce. Look, they're not smiling. It means that divorce isn't a happy thing for them, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice and looked at Baiya. Don't mention divorce to me again. Baiya, let's go in and take photos. Gu Lingqing dragged Baiya to the photography room. The photography room was simple. There were 2 chairs opposite the camera. Baiya and Gu Lingqing sat on them. Get closer, the cameraman said. Baiya leaned towards Gu Lingqing. Closer, the cameraman said again. Baiya leaned towards Gu Lingqing. Closer. The cameraman was adjusting the distance between them. Gu Lingqing pressed Baiya's head and leaned towards him. Okay. Move your hands away, the cameraman said in a good mood. Baiya burst into laughter. Gu Lingqing also raised a smile. It was one of the brightest smiles he had ever had in his life. Alright, do you want to make hand masks? Go ahead and get your marriage certificate after you're done, the cameraman reminded them. Baiya and Gu Lingqing went out. The staff at the window was waiting for them at the door and took them to make hand masks. The hand mask model was a finished one. It was in the shape of a pink heart and was made of composite plastic. There were roses on the side. The staff tore off a layer of tempered film on the surface of the model. Just put your hands on it. Gu Lingqing and Baiya put their hands on it together. This needs to be dried in the dryer. It will take about 5 minutes. Wait here. The staff took the model out. Are there so many things now? Baiya asked casually. Gu Lingqing thought of Baiya's marriage. He felt a little unbalanced in his heart. It was an indescribable strange feeling. Yes, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Oh. Baiya understood. No wonder there were so many things. 5 minutes later, the staff came over and handed a red gift bag to Gu Lingqing. He said, model. Marriage certificate, household register. Your ID cards and a set of gifts from the Civil Affairs Bureau are all inside. When you go back, live a good life. The way a husband and wife get along is in their looks. As long as you don't cheat, gamble, or take drugs, there's nothing you can't do. Thank you. Baiya nodded. The staff glanced at Baiya and left. Baiya took out the marriage certificate. In the photo of the marriage certificate, she and Gu Lingqing were both smiling. They looked very happy. She remembered her previous marriage certificate. At that time, she had forced Su Jiran to marry her. Su Jiran had a look of disdain on his face as he glared at the camera angrily. On the other hand, she was unhappy and pursed her lips. Chapter 199. If marriage was destined to be unlucky from the beginning, one should never climb into the grave, because when he climbed out, he would definitely be covered in injuries and exhausted. She and Gu Lingqing had a good start, and she hoped that there would be a good ending. One for you, one for me. Keep it safe. Baiya happily put her ID card, household register, and marriage certificate into her bag. Gu Lingqing looked at her bright eyes and white teeth, and his heart softened a little. This woman, who was a stranger at the beginning, had now become his wife, a woman that he needed to protect and take care of for the rest of his life. As long as he thought that she had become his wife, the corner of his mouth slightly curled up. Shouldn't we keep it together? Baiya smiled, took out her marriage certificate and put it in the gift bag. Sorry to trouble you, husband. Gu Lingqing cleared his throat and replied seriously, it's no trouble at all. He. Baiya laughed happily. She still remembered the time when she first met him. She asked a lot of questions, and he also looked like he was now, answering them one by one seriously. Actually, Gu Lingqing hadn't changed, but she had changed a lot. Baiya laughed and tears flowed out. Gu Lingqing frowned. What's wrong? Baiya hugged Gu Lingqing and buried her face in his arms. Her voice was choked. The dream you had was right. I really looked for you. I looked for you for a long time. Gu Lingqing's eyes darkened, and he gently placed his hand on her back. Baiya, I'm back. Baiya wiped her tears. I've always wanted to find my past memories, but the more I want to find them, the more tired I feel. Now that I have you, I won't force my lost memories. The doctor also said that I might come back at any time, Gu Lingqing explained. I'm here. I'll try to help you with hypnosis. Gu Lingqing rubbed her face. There's a long way to go. There's no hurry. We still have a lot of urgent things to do first. All right. I'll send you to the research institute now. Take the documents and come to the military in the afternoon. I can ask Lu Shuang to cooperate with you. You two sisters must have endless things to talk about when you're together. Our wedding is already in preparation. I'll let you know when it's ready. Baiya remembered that she still owed Su Jiran lunch. It was better to make things clear between her and Su Jiran. Besides, she and Gu Lingqing were already married. It was time for Su Jiran to give up. I can go by myself. I still have something to tell Mu Shaoxing. I will have lunch with them at noon and arrive at the military region at 2 p.m. Baiya refused Gu Lingqing's kindness. Gu Lingqing remained silent and fixed his eyes on Baiya. What's wrong? Baiya asked guiltily. You should enjoy the service of your husband. I hope that you will accept it. If you refuse me, I will feel that there's a distance between us. It's a distance from here to the research institute. I'll send you there, Gu Lingqing confessed. All right then. She nodded. He took her to the research institute. Baiya stared straight ahead, enjoying the peace and tranquility in her heart at this moment. Call me half an hour before the end of the meal. I'll send someone to pick you up, Gu Lingqing said. Baiya turned her head to look at Gu Lingqing. The sunlight outside the window fell on his resolute face. He was so handsome that it took one's breath away. In the past, she didn't want to trouble others. What he said just now had woken her up. Now, he was her husband. It wasn't trouble. Instead, it was letting him into her life. She didn't treat him as an outsider anymore. All right. I'll call you half an hour before the end of the meal. See you in the afternoon, Baiya said gently. I like the food you cook. It's better than what the orderlies cook, Gu Lingqing suddenly said. Baiya smiled. If you like the food I cook, I'll cook for you every day. All right. The time that the two of them spent together passed very quickly. Even if they didn't say anything, they wouldn't feel bored. Gu Lingqing saw the research institute from afar. She subconsciously slowed down. Bai Ye looked at the yard number. It had changed from 60 to 40. Although it was slow, there was a warm feeling in her heart. It warmed up the time at this moment. However, no matter how slow she was, they had already reached the building of the research institute. Do you need me to send you up? Gu Lingqing asked, looking at her reluctantly. Bai Ye smiled. Then do you want to move here and work together? We can be Siamese. Don't joke around. Gu Lingqing's expression turned serious. Bai Ye kissed him on the cheek. Hubby, I'm going to work. See you in the afternoon. Gu Lingqing looked at her with a burning gaze. He enjoyed her initiative. Let's go up. Okay, let's go. Bai Ye got out of the car and closed the door for Gu Lingqing. She walked upstairs and didn't notice Su Jiran, who was standing at the window and looking at them. Su Jiran's expression was very bad. It was as cold as December. His face was frozen and emitted a sharp aura. He remembered that Bai Ye had slept with Gu Lingqing and the child. His heart was wrenched. It was very painful, sour and bitter. He was very jealous. He was so jealous that he was going crazy. Bai Ye was his woman. When did he lose her? He wanted her back. It seemed that it was time to take action. Bai Ye walked upstairs. Su Jiran stood in front of her. He didn't look good. He saw the diamond ring on her finger. He grabbed Bai Ye's wrist and raised it up. The diamond was very big and bright. It shone brightly in his eyes. Su Jiran's devilish eyes cracked. He asked, "You agreed to his proposal?" He only has Zhou Hailan in his heart. Don't you know that? Bai Ye was very calm. I didn't agree to his proposal. I'm already married to him. I even got the marriage certificate. I'll invite you on the day of the banquet. Are you crazy? Su Jiran flung Bai Ye's hand away. He held her shoulders tightly. Gu Lingqing doesn't love you at all. I'll decide whether I love him or not. I don't need others to tell me what to do, Bai Ye said coldly and pushed Su Jiran's hand away. You're married to him. What about me? Bai Ye, can't you see what I've done for you for the past 3 years? I love you. I've turned over a new leaf. I've stopped contacting any other women. You're the only one in my heart. Don't you believe that you're the only one I love? Su Jiran said. He looked at Bai Ye with a pleading tone. I already know why you provoked me back then. Bai Ye stared straight at Su Jiran. It's because he's your father that I showed mercy. For you, I can let go of my hatred. Don't leave me. I'm the one who loves you the most. Su Jiran frowned. Now I love him. Sooner or later, you'll be heavily wounded by him. Believe me, Bai Ye, if you go back on your word now, you probably haven't entered the archives of the Civil Affairs Bureau yet. There's still time. I can think of a way to revoke it. Chapter 200. Bai Ye was shocked. She turned around and looked at Gu Lingqing. He had one hand in his pocket and his steps were heavy. He walked up the stairs step by step and looked at Su Jiran with a strong gaze. His body was shrouded in an imposing manner. Su Jiran narrowed his eyes and glared at him, his eyes filled with hatred. You can't give Bai Ye happiness, Su Jiran said directly. Gu Lingqing walked to Bai Ye and put his arm around Bai Ye's waist. He pulled Bai Ye to his side and announced his ownership. It's not up to you to decide whether I can give her happiness or not. Don't you think you're just saying that the grapes are sour because you can't eat them? Su Jiran gritted his teeth. I'm not going to argue with you. He walked past Gu Lingqing and walked towards the stairs. Gu Lingqing turned around and looked at him condescendingly. Mr. Su, I won't interfere with my wife's right to make friends, but there's a limit to everything. If some people have wild ambitions, I'll have to use extreme measures. When Gu Lingqing said this, he hugged Bai Ye a little tighter. Extreme measures. Su Jiran smiled. He was not afraid at all. On the contrary, his eyes were full of mockery. You can't get love if you're strong, Bai Ye. Su Jiran looked at Bai Ye. Don't forget that you promised to have lunch with him at noon. I'll contact you at noon. Gu Lingqing looked at Bai Ye coldly and frowned. You promised to have lunch with him at noon. When did you promise? Why didn't I know about it? Bai Ye's eyes flickered. She was thinking about what to say. Su Jiran answered for her. To be exact, I agreed to it last night. Gu Lingqing frowned even more. Did you agree to have lunch with him before or after I proposed? Bai Ye guessed that Gu Lingqing was overthinking. Did he think that she agreed to have a meal with Su Jiran because she wanted to develop her relationship with Su Jiran? She was not going to take the blame for this. Bai Ye explained, I have something to tell him, so I made an appointment to meet. If you want to get to the bottom of it, he is blocking Mu Xiaoxing's case. I only agreed to eat with him in a compromise way. Bai Ye told the truth and looked at Su Jiran. However, Su Jiran left through the stairs. Perhaps the scene of Bai Ye and Gu Lingqing standing together was too beautiful for him to look at. Gu Lingqing looked more relaxed than before. He's your ex-husband and he's chasing after you. He even asked you to cancel the marriage with me. If we weren't married, you would have the right to be pursued. Now that you're my wife, shouldn't you deliberately avoid it? Bai Ye, I'm a human being, not a god. I have 7 emotions and 6 desires, and I'm a normal man. You eat with another man behind my back, and he is your ex-husband, and he even wants to meet your ex-husband who wants to remarry you. I will also be jealous. Gu Lingqing lectured Bai Ye. He said it seriously, but his jealousy was flying. She felt embarrassed. I know. If he asks me out next time, I'll refuse. Bai Ye promised. There's a next time. Gu Lingqing's voice became sharp. But Bai Ye felt warm in her heart. She liked the feeling of being valued and cared for by him. He asked me out, so he has the initiative. I can't do anything about it. But I'll refuse. I think I've already told him what I should say, Bai Ye explained. Gu Lingqing nodded and didn't keep staring at her question. Go to Mu Xiaoxing's office and get the documents. Let's go to the military area. We don't have to stay outside to eat. There's food in the military area. Gu Lingqing said overbearingly. Got it. Bai Ye walked towards Mu Xiaoxing's office. She knocked on the door and pushed it open. When Mu Xiaoxing saw Bai Ye, it was as if he had seen his savior. Bai Ye, you came just in time. Please save me. I'm still at my wit's end about this case. I promised Deputy General Manager Su that the time to solve the case is tomorrow. Bai Ye walked in and sat opposite Mu Xiaoxing. She asked, what's the information you got from the forensics department and the police station? Mu Xiaoxing handed all the information to Bai Ye. Unimaginable, unimaginable. Mu Xiaoxing repeatedly sighed. When collecting, the evidence was badly damaged. There's very little useful information, and the time of death can't be determined. There's one piece of information. Tony was cut very neatly by a sharp weapon. The cut was so neat that it made people's hair stand on end. It didn't look like a human being, but more like a machine. However, the surveillance camera didn't record Tony leaving Su Xiaoling's room. Su Xiaoling said that she was very angry at that time. She wanted to kill Tony, but she didn't have the courage to do it. She asked Tony to leave, but Tony shamelessly refused to leave. He wanted to have sex with Su Xiaoling. Su Xiaoling was so angry that she left. Mu Xiaoxing pushed his glasses and scratched his head. You said that Su Xiaoling left before Tony. Bai Ye heard something strange. After she left, did she go back? Mu Xiaoxing shook his head. The video did capture Su Xiaoling leaving, but it didn't capture her coming back. Don't you think it's strange? There's nothing strange about it. This situation is very simple. Gu Lingqing's voice sounded. Bai Ye looked behind him. Gu Lingqing also walked in. Why are you here? Bai Ye asked. You took too long to take a document, Gu Lingqing said confidently. Bai Ye, Mu Xiaoxing saw that another big shot had come and immediately nodded. 2 big shots came to his place in one day. It was really an honor to have 2 big shots here. Then what does the chief mean? Why don't you think it's strange? Mu Xiaoxing asked respectfully. Tony has a strong body. He used to be an extreme sports enthusiast. He often participated in group activities such as parkour. Su Xiaoling's rented house is on the 3rd floor. The height of the 3rd floor is easy for an extreme athlete. So, he can jump out of the window and go anywhere, Gu Lingqing explained. A place, Gu Lingqing explained. Yes. He dismembered the body. First, it's convenient to dispose of the body. Second, he has a deep hatred for Tony. Before Gu Lingqing finished, Mu Xiaoxing interrupted, yes. Not only did he throw the body into the toilet, but he also stuffed Tony's penis into his mouth. Then it's easy to investigate. Tony has syphilis and has infected many people. The person who killed him is also a patient. Next, I think Bai Ye will give you a much clearer answer than me. Gu Lingqing looked at Bai Ye. Tony had syphilis and infected many people. The person who killed him was also a patient. Next, I think Bai Ye will give you a much clearer answer than I did. Gu Lingqing looked at Bai Ye. Mu Xiaoxing also looked at Bai Ye. Chapter 201. Bai Ye, I'm curious. How did you determine that the murderer wasn't alone? Also, how did you determine that the family conditions were ordinary? How could you infer that it was a former girlfriend? What's your basis? Tony was 190 centimeters tall and weighed 170 centimeters. Do you think a person could carry his body? Besides, the location of the corpse run was very remote. It was a public toilet in an old neighborhood. The location of this public toilet was also very remote. Even cars couldn't enter. The murderer was very familiar with the terrain. He could even know when there was no one around. Even if he met someone, his appearance might not be suspicious. Do you think a rich person would appear in such a remote public toilet? Tony was a diamond star. The women who dated him were either rich or expensive. There were also beautiful women like Su Xiaoling. Every bullet he fired was very valuable. He wouldn't waste it on women. Then, there was another kind of woman that he was willing to waste his bullets on. She was either still in love or abandoned. Anyway, it must be a woman he dated before. As for the cutting equipment, if it was someone else's, it would be too bold of them to use it to cut the body. Besides, the corpse was stored in an ordinary black plastic bag. Most people wouldn't have this kind of plastic bag, unless they were selling fish or meat. Such shops would give them to them. Bai Ye analyzed methodically. You only suspect that it was 2 people. Could it be more than 2 people? Mu Xiaoxing guessed. Impossible. First of all, it would be difficult for anyone to talk about that disease. Second, it was his ex-girlfriend. Her circle was actually a bit far away from Tony's. It was unlikely that she would come into contact with Tony's diamond clients. So, it was impossible for her to cooperate with a diamond client. Mu Shaoxing listened to Bai Ye's words and suddenly understood. Bai Ye, this is criminal psychology. You even learned this. You're too awesome. No wonder you're so famous in the circle. Mu Shaoxing praised. Please do your work. Gu Lingqing reminded Mu Shaoxing. Mu Shaoxing looked at Gu Lingqing. Suddenly, he remembered that there was still something he hadn't done. He said to Bai Ye, this morning, the relevant department sent a document. I haven't read it yet. Relevant departments? Bai Ye looked at Gu Lingqing. I'll go and see what it is later. I'm too busy with Tony's case. I'm not in the mood to read it. Mu Shaoxing flipped through the documents. Gu Lingqing, Mu Shaoxing saw the stamp of the special military region at the bottom of the document and did not dare to say anything. He looked at Gu Lingqing guiltily and handed the document to Bai Ye. Go. Thank you for this case. Hee hee. Mu Shaoxing laughed dryly. I'll contact you later. Bai Ye took the document and put it in her bag. We'll go first, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice, turned around, and walked out of Mu Shaoxing's office. Mu Shaoxing waves to Bai Ye. You can call me if you need anything. I promised you, and I won't go back on my word. I'm doing psychological tests for the soldiers in the military, so I still have time to help you, Bai Ye said. Well, thank you, Bai Ye. Bai Ye followed Gu Lingqing out of the research institute and got into his car. He asked darkly, what did you promise Mu Shaoxing again? Bai Ye took a deep breath and said without hiding anything, 3 years ago, I wanted to go to a famous university abroad to study psychology. I asked Mu Shaoxing to do it. He paid for all the expenses. We agreed that I would work for him for a few years after I returned to China. Mu Shaoxing is kind and generous. He doesn't need me to work for him, but I can't forget my roots. I made an agreement with him to help him with 20 psychological counseling cases. Mu Shaoxing is a big tree that attracts the wind. His reputation is too great, so many police stations will ask him for help. In fact, psychological research is divided into many kinds. Criminal psychology is a clearly distinguished subject. I happened to learn it when I was abroad, so I can help him. He should specially recruit this kind of expert, Gu Lingqing suggested. In our country, people who specialize in this field will go to the police station. Now, with the outbreak of more and more psychological problems, many departments are paying attention to it. Basically, there will be such people in the police station. If the police station finds Mu Shaoxing, it means that with their current ability, they can't solve it. So, as the dean of the research institute, Mu Shaoxing must find an expert in the industry. Otherwise, it will be meaningless, Bai Ye explained. Gu Lingqing paused for a while. What were you going to do after you accepted the 20 tasks? Open a psychological clinic and see 1 or 2 patients a day. It's enough to maintain my glamorous life. My consultation fees abroad are very high, Bai Ye said lightly. You and Mu Shaoxing are in the same line. He agreed. Gu Lingqing was surprised. Bai Ye raised the corner of his mouth. He mainly targets enterprises, institutions, and civilians. His research institute will have a lot of subsidies from the state. So, if the police station wants people, he must give them. I'm different. The people who come to see me are either rich or respectable. Ordinary people look down on me. So, I actually don't have any competition with him. Of course, if he can't handle it, he will transfer it to me. If they need my help, I will not refuse. Will you have any business? If not, I can use the name of the military to hire you, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. I don't like to be restricted. I want freedom. Freedom is good. I can do whatever I want. Gu Lingqing looked at her deeply. It's up to you if you like it. If you don't want to work, it's okay. I will support you. Baya smiled knowingly. Women still needed to be independent financially. They needed something to do. They shouldn't put 100% of their heart on their husband. Her husband would feel suffocated and she would be unhappy. She would feel neglected for small things. If the relationship was too tense, it would break up. She should do her own things. Even if one day, their relationship broke up and her husband didn't want her, at least she still had a job and a career. They returned to the military base. The orderly brought over 3 dishes and a soup. There were shredded pork, sweet and sour pork ribs, tomato and eggs, and black-bone chicken soup. Let's do it at 3 in the afternoon. I will gather some people to help you with the psychological plan. Is that okay? Gu Lingqing asked. Yes, it's okay. You need to have some understanding of the structure of the military. I will give you the information later. Baya nodded. Lieutenant Colonel Song came over nervously. Gu Lingqing looked at him. What's wrong? Chief, I have something to tell you. Lieutenant Colonel Song lowered his head with a troubled expression. Baya looked at Gu Lingqing and walked over. She didn't want to listen to their military information. She lowered her head and ate. After listening to Lieutenant Colonel Song's report, Gu Lingqing was shocked. He was too excited that his hands were trembling. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.